The autumn wind is like a red raider journeying across the sea. They sing their song as they go along, swaggering boisterously. As today, the California Vulcans take on the Shippensburg Red Raiders in a PSAC crossover matchup here at Adamson Stadium, and it's Family Day at Cal U. Hello, everybody. I'm Zach Prosper. Joining me is Damon Madsen. And today, Damon, a matchup of teams 2-0 and 1-1. And we'll start with last week's matchups for each of these teams. We'll start with California. They took on another PSAC East squad, the favorite in the East, in the Bloomsburg Huskies.
Yeah, the Vulcans came out with a tough loss out of that one, losing that game 20-13. Bloomsburg had their way on the ground, 250-plus rushing yards in the game, and California led 13-0 in the second quarter and gave up 20 unanswered points in what was a very tough loss for them to take. And then Shippensburg last week had actually a pretty nice win, winning 20-13 at Edinboro last weekend. Edinboro led 13-3 at the half, so Shippensburg had the comeback, and they can't come in averaging 42 points per game, leading the PSAC.
And so this is going to be an offensive shootout, much like we saw last year. When we take a look at the last meeting between these two squads, put up 90 combined points, with the Vulcans coming out on top.
Yeah, the Vulcans had the better offense in that one, winning that game 56-34. That's the most points that were scored in the 2014 season for the Vulcans. And Shippensburg, their starting QB, Zapaticki, saw some action in specific plays behind former starter Chris Lawshe. We'll see him this afternoon against the Vulcans.
Yeah, Zapaticki taking over after Lawshe left the team. And now we'll go ahead and look at some matchups and players to watch today. We'll start with the offense for both squads. California first. Not a skill position player, but still very important by every means necessary, especially when it comes to protecting quarterback James Harris.
The offensive line is one of the biggest protections for the quarterback. Left tackle Zach Moorhead is the one we're going to keep an eye on. He gave up 3 sacks last week, all in the fourth quarter in that Vulcans loss. We'll see if he can turn it around this week. And then for Shippensburg, we're watching wide receiver Sheldon Mays. He has 1,099 receiving yards in 2014. That was second behind the Vulcans' Gary Brown. And he's a dangerous as a punt returner as well, so we're going to keep an eye on him today.
And it's going to be interesting to see as the Vulcans continue to replace Andrew Surratt, who graduated last year in the punt game. Now moving on to defense, starting with California, a cornerback who had a really good freshman year, hasn't really put up the great numbers since, but maybe it's just because people aren't throwing to him.
That's right, and that is cornerback Aaron Terry that we're going to keep an eye on. Dynamic freshman year with 4 interceptions, but he hasn't had the same production since then. We'll see if he can turn it around today and get a couple of interceptions. And then for Shippensburg, we're watching Chavez Cheatham, also a cornerback, PSAC Best Freshman of the Year in 2014. And his height is his disadvantage, though. He is only 5'8", so we'll see if that height plays well for him or against him here this afternoon.
I remember last year's matchup with Kawan Scott. Kawan Scott 6'4", Cheatham only at 5'8". That's almost a foot's difference there, so we'll see how that matchup transpires today. When we come back, we will have kickoff next on CUTV.
Don't miss your chance to catch the best pro wrestling on the planet. Ring of Honor returns to the Pittsburgh area at the Convo Center at Cal U, Friday, September 25th at 7:30 p.m. with appearances by the Briscoes, Jay Lethal, Adam Cole, and many more. Experience body slamming, super kicking pro wrestling action live. Visit ROHWrestling.com now for tickets and info.
Catch all the excitement under the Friday Night Lights with CUTV's High School Football Game of the Week. You have the best seats in the house as the area's longest-running high school football telecast, now in its 29th season, brings you the area's biggest games. Don't forget to watch the replay on CUTV, Sundays at 8 and Thursdays at 5:30.
Complete news, entertainment, and sports coverage from around the area, region, and nation is found right here on CUTV News Center every Thursday at 5 p.m. with anchors Jennifer Germano, Zach Prosba, entertainment with Mike Mays, and sports with Matt Hagee. Follow us on YouTube, CUTV News Center, and on Twitter, CUTV_PA, for your complete rebroadcast of your Vulcan sports. News Center airs every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Armstrong and Atlantic Broadband.
Since 1937, the Student Association Incorporated, known as SAI, has served the Cal U student body by providing activities, programs and services. Every enrolled student has the ability to take part in over 125 different clubs and organizations. Managing participation in every SAI activity is easy with OrgSync, a powerful tool for staying connected. Located 1 mile from campus, the SAI Farm has 94 acres of meeting and recreational space. SAI, it's your student association.
Welcome back to Adamson Stadium, where the Shippensburg Red Raiders and the Vulcans are about ready to get back to action, a few minutes away from kickoff. And Damon, before we get into this game, we'll go ahead and look at both of these two teams in our tail of the tape.
Yeah, through the first 3 games of the season, these two teams have been doing a fairly good job on the offensive side of the ball, and that's usually what we like to see in this game. We talked about the last game being an offensive showdown. You see right there, the Vulcans throwing 325 yards through the air, and then Shippensburg with the rushing game, almost 250 yards per game on total offenses, up in the 400s as far as yards are concerned. And the turnover margin, we got to watch for that. Shippensburg has gotten quite a few turnovers this year, and they got a +2 in that category. And
I think the thing that stands out to me is the points allowed. 18 for Cal, 13.5 for Shippensburg. But you can honestly look at Shippensburg's schedule and say they haven't played the toughest of opponents in Seton Hill and Edinboro, teams that picked to finish in the bottom half of the West, whereas Cal's played Virginia State, a playoff team from last year, and Bloomsburg, who won the PSAC East and was runner-up in the region last year. So not discrediting Shippensburg's numbers at all, but California, their resume may be a little bit more qualified with those 18 points allowed. As now, we'll go ahead and look at the weather for today's game. And Damon, you're our crew meteorologist, and all the way through this week, it's going to be sunny, a little bit cloudy, and then all of a sudden I wake up this morning and it says it might rain.
Yeah, it's been really hot and humid most of the week, and it's going to stay that way. We're going to see a temperature up in the high 80s, but as we go on through the day, we might see a few storms roll in. We're hoping we can get through the whole entire game before that rain hits, but overall, yeah, we're actually going to see a little bit of a cool down, but the weather should be good for today's game.
And right there, you see the captains for both teams. For Cal, it's Gary Brown, Jordan Bowman, James Harris, and Jawan Turner. For Shippensburg, it is Kurt Walker, Hayden Rigo, Sheldon Mayer, as well as Alan Holman. So we'll see in just a second who will receive the kick as the coin toss is there. And I would like to welcome in our audience live online at calvulcans.com. Last week we tried this, and there's a power outage in the stadium. We got it going in the second half. Hopefully this time no technical issues will arise, and we hope you can enjoy the game wherever you're at watching and viewing. And Shippensburg will defer the toss, so it looks like California will receive the kick first, and they indeed will. So, Damon, last week California was on the board first. They led 13-0, but they let up 20 straight points. What do they need to do to not fall into a lingering spell and be able to put up points all through the game?
They need to be able to establish, I think, the running game. I think last week what they did was try to go through the air quite a bit to start the game. Once they got that rushing game going, they were able to hold the ball and get those 13 points in the first half. In the second half, they kind of got away from that, and it did end up hurting them, and that's when Bloomsburg was able to put up the 20 points straight, and the defense for the Vulcans was on the field quite a bit. If the Vulcans could hold on to the ball, rush it a little bit, they should be able to put up a decent amount of points today.
And California sporting their red and white combination of uniforms. Usually they save the red for homecoming and senior day. It's family day though at Cal U, so go with a little bit different tradition as they run out of the giant inflatable helmet onto the field. And we'll see the kick returners for California. Gary Brown is usually one of them, but Gary Brown will not be playing today. As you saw when he was a captain, he's not dressed. He suffered a sprained ankle last week against Bloomsburg, so hope for a speedy recovery for him. So we'll see who replaces him back there. There's talks maybe Jimmy Wheeler, who's a freshman running back for the Vulcans. He'll be wearing number 30 today for the Vulcans instead of his traditional 27, because there's no number 27 in the red uniform. So might be a few numbers and uniforms we may not be able to tell you immediately. We will try our best and make sure we get that player to you. So Damon, any last thoughts before this game gets going, either for Cal or Shippensburg, or overall the entire day being family day here at Cal U?
Well, I think the Vulcans probably are going to come out with a little bit of intensity. You saw they got the red uniforms out for Family Day. It's kind of a special day here at California University of Pennsylvania. So they should come out with some intensity. They're going to want to answer back for what happened last week when they gave up those 20 points, and I'm sure the defense for the Vulcans is going to come out with a little bit of attitude and try to stop Shippensburg, especially their run game. We showed you Shippensburg likes to run the ball. They put up a lot of yards that way. We'll see if the Vulcans can't contain that rushing attack for Shippensburg.
And kicking it off for Shippensburg will be Billy Dean, number 2, a sophomore kicker. He was PSAC Special Teams Player of the Week in the East this past week. And back to return for the Vulcans is Jimmy Wheeler and Jordan Dandridge, number 88. So we're ready for the kick. Dean is back, running up at the 35-yard line, and the kick is away. It's going to go out of bounds, so a bad start here for the Red Raiders. This is going to give California a great position. As we will see in a moment, the starters for California's offense as well. Looks like the ball's going to be placed about the 40-yard line to start this drive off. That's great for the Vulcans. And the ball's actually going at the 35, not the 40. So, Damon, look at the starters for Cal U.
Hey, we take a look at the starters. Of course, James Harris back there at quarterback. We're going to see John Franklin III as well at running back. And Gary Brown is not going to be in this one. We did note that he is not starting. And then on the offensive line, our player to watch, Zach Moorhead there at left tackle, along with the rest of the offensive line.
Harris fakes it, throws it to Smorey. He's going to be fumbling the ball, and Shippensburg has it. So just like that, Shippensburg starts out in a bad way. California comes back and does it the same. So Shippensburg takes over in Cal territory after Smorey drops the pass. Honestly, could have been an argument. Maybe he didn't complete it. You see here, does get a couple steps though and fumbles it away.
It did look like he had possession of that ball before he lost it. What a start to this game. It's been all over the place already. Kick goes out of bounds. Vulcans get great field position and move on. And then we take a look now for the Vulcans defense since we switched over so quickly. We got Jawan Turner out there as well as Luke Rapchick. He had a great game last week with quite a few tackles. And then in the secondary, we have Aaron Terry, our player to watch, along with the rest of the defensive backfield for the Vulcans.
Oh, they just ruled this pass incomplete, so Shippensburg's offense off the field. Coach Majeski of Shippensburg can't believe it. The refs conferred and ruled it incomplete, and I thought there could have been a chance for that, so California will go back out onto the field for second down. I believe it's going to be about 2nd and 12. We'll see, though. Look at this again. He did take a couple steps.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. It seemed like the ball was bobbled as he was taking those steps, so maybe they just didn't feel like he had complete possession as he was moving.
So it's going to be 2nd and 10 after an incomplete. Give me a handoff in the middle to Franklin. He's going to gain about 4 yards on the play. So this will bring up 3rd and 6 for the Vulcans. So early turnover immediately wiped away, and here's the Shippensburg defense.
Yeah, we're going to transition back here. We'll take a look at the Shippensburg defense with what they're set up with as we look at there. Dakota Thompson, Kevin Goldsmith, a couple of linebackers out there for Shippensburg here today. And then, again, our player to watch, Chavez Cheatham, out there with the rest of the defensive backs.
Harris in the shotgun, 3rd and 6, first series for the Vulcans. Going back to throw. Over the middle, and it's complete. Devin Lomax, and he has a first down in Shippensburg territory. Great job there getting the first down. California will move.
And that was a big first down right there for the Vulcans, able to convert on that 3rd down play. This game has been all over the place. We already had one call overturned. The Vulcans get it right back and answer with a first down.
Harris under center. Just a minute into this contest and already some crazy things happening. Fiore is in the backfield. He is a corner this year, but moved back to running back with some injuries there. Gets the outside and gets about 4 yards on the play. So 2nd and 6 coming up.
Yeah, that one, the Vulcans just trying to roll out to the right side that time. Again, they got to try to establish the ground game here today, mix it up on the offensive side of the ball, and that time, gaining a good 2 or 3 yards, that's what you're going to want to do. Just chip away, get yourself to a manageable 3rd down at the very least, moving forward through this game.
Ball at the 43-yard line, need to get to the 37 in Ship territory for a new first down. Harris under center. Franklin in the backfield. He's going to have an outside handoff. And he has some running room. That'll be a first down and a little bit more out about the 29-yard line. It'll be a new set of downs for the Vulcans.
And you can't discount John Franklin. He had a pretty good game last week against Bloomsburg, getting the yards and even, I believe, a touchdown as well. And he goes out to the left side here, and he had his blockers with him, that line for the Vulcans. And number 77, once again, that is Zach Moorhead, our player to watch. He was throwing the block for him right there, and they get the first down.
And number 41, Ryan McCauley, a fullback in this offense. Great block there. Franklin, another outside handoff. He'll be stopped at the line It'll be second down. And Shippensburg thought they had another fumble, but they're going to rule that Franklin was down. So Shippensburg's gotten an opportunity to recover some fumbles, but not going their way so far.
And Shippensburg's sideline over there definitely very fired up after the turned over call. And this time the fumble, it looked like he lost it.
He wasn't down, I don't believe.
He might not have been down. He was rolling over the defensive player right there, and he may have lost that ball.
That's 2 turnovers that Shippensburg should have had possibly that they have avoided due to the refs. Now Harris over the middle. It's caught. That's Kawan Scott, and he's dragged down about the 22. First down for the Vulcans. Kawan Scott not targeted a lot last week. Only had about 1 or 2 catches, getting him involved early here.
He should be a big part of this game with Gary Brown out of the game, and right here, a beautiful pass by Harris, getting that one right out to him as he just came back and got the easy 10 or so yards for another first down. And the Vulcans dodging those bullets, continuing to move down the field as well.
And that's Chavez Cheatham, our player to watch on him. And I mentioned in the open that height disadvantage with Cheatham there. Harris over the middle. Smorey, it's behind him. As Harris thought Smorey was going to go the other direction, Smorey broke into the middle of the field. So incomplete, 2nd and 10 coming up.
There may have been a little bit of a miscommunication right there. Harris probably thinking Smorey was going to continue to go straight down the field, but on this one, he decides to go off to his left. And this one might have also been tipped just a little bit coming off the line, but in that case, no avail. Smorey was already going off to his left.
Looks like Smorey broke maybe a little bit too early on that one. As now it's going to be a handoff to Fiore, going to the outside, has some blocks. He's got some running room. He's going to be tackled down at the 13-yard line. That's enough for a new set of downs as well.
And Fiore, not the biggest running back, but he's just going to continue to churn his legs on this play and just continue to follow his blocks as he pushes up the field. Large chunk of yards right there for the Vulcans as their rushing attack's looking good to come out so far.
And before this year, Fiore moved to cornerback. I mentioned Nick Grissom suffered a torn ACL, out for the year with a medical red shirt. He was the most experienced running back on this team, not even playing at the position. He's back there today, so maybe that'll add something to that game. Now Franklin going to the outside, gets some blocks, and he'll be shoved out of bounds. Maybe no gain on the play, they're going to call it. It'll be actually, they're going to mark him for a loss on the play, so 2nd and 11.
And with the starting running back for the Vulcans hurt, like you said, Zach, it's kind of a running back by committee right now for the Vulcans. They have a couple of guys in Franklin, Fiore, and Goldsmith. We saw him last week. They could be a big part of the rushing attack, and they're just going to share the load, try to continue to push the Vulcans offense forward.
Yeah, the Vulcans have never had a premier running back over the last 10 years or so. It's always been a committee back there in the backfield. As Harris is under center now, 2nd and 10, they're actually calling it. And Franklin up the middle, has some running room. He's gonna stumble down. Looks like he was pulled from behind. Might have gotten clipped and caused him to fall. If he doesn't, he's walking into the end zone.
I'm not sure who got a hand on him right here. We're gonna see a view from right on the play. Who got a hand on him right there?
That's 51 for Shippensburg.
That's Kevin Goldsmith right there. The linebacker was able to get a hand on him, and Franklin just missed getting into the end zone.
So let's see here. Handoff again to Franklin, and he will get into the end zone. California strikes first in the same fashion they did last week. John Franklin rushing it in from about 3 yards out.
And that was an impressive drive by the Vulcans. Not only did they dodge the bullets on the couple of possible turnovers right there, but they established the ground game to kick this one off. And Franklin pushing his way, going off to his left and following his blocks. Almost got tripped up once again right here, avoiding a couple of players, but he's able to make his way to the end zone for the touchdown.
That's great vision and awareness to stay with that and keep your legs churning. As Brazil is on for the extra point. It's up, and it is good. Almost takes out the man in the camera hang behind the field goal. So it is 7-0 Cal U. When we come back, Shippensburg will get the ball for the first time, even though they could have had it a couple other times, when we come back on CUTV.
Don't miss your chance to catch the best pro wrestling on the planet. Ring of Honor returns to the Pittsburgh area at the Convo Center at Cal U, Friday, September 25th at 7:30 p.m. with appearances by the Briscoes, Jay Lethal, Adam Cole, and many more. Experience body slamming, super kicking pro wrestling action live. Visit ROHWrestling.com now for tickets and info.
And we are back. William Brazil about ready to kick it off for California. Back to return for Shippensburg will be Andrew Smith and Sheldon Mayer. Mayer, our player to watch for the Red Raiders on offense today. Brazil's kick is away. It's a deep one. This one is going to go out of bounds. And there's a lot of wind blowing as well. Looks like the wind got a hold of that one and forced it out. So Shippensburg will start the 35 as we look at the Cal defense.
And we'll take a look at them once again since we only got a brief look before. Again, our player to watch, Aaron Terry. We'll see if he can't cover Shippensburg's receivers and keep them one-dimensional possibly, keep them just to the rushing attack. And then Chaz Veal as well out there in the backfield. And then again, Luke Harapchik, we talked about it last week. He had a monster game, getting 14 tackles in that game against Bloomsburg. So look for him to be a factor for the linebackers for the Vulcans.
Now Zapaticki leads out the Red Raider offense for the first time. In the backfield is Andrew Smith, number 11. Zapaticki goes to throw, and it's incomplete to Smith. Goes through his hands. Would have been tackled immediately on the play as well. As now we look at the Shippensburg backs and receivers here.
And we just saw Smith on that play, and then again, Zapaticki, the quarterback, just missing that pass, and you see the rest of their running backs and wide receivers as well, and then their offensive line, Andrew Egelbert and Alec Piccirillo, see if they can't do anything.
Handoff up the middle to Smith. He's got some running room, and he's taken down for about a 7-yard gain. So we'll bring up 3rd and 3 for the Red Raiders. And something that's a disadvantage to this whole team, not just Cheatham, Damon, is height. The receivers for Shippensburg, the starters are at least 5'7" and 5'6", and the left tackle only comes in at 270 pounds. So a size disadvantage in this game, I believe, for the Red Raiders. Zapaticki back to throw, under pressure, it's complete. It will not be good enough for a first down, as that receiver was Karan Kent. He was tackled immediately, just a yard short of first down. Looks like Shippensburg is going to punt.
And despite the height disadvantage you were just talking about, Karan Kent got way up there to catch that football. The Vulcans were right on top of it and were able to make the stop. That was Jordan Bowman, the safety for the Vulcans. And it brings up a 4th down already here for the Red Raiders.
Billy Dean is back to punt, so he's the kicker, the punter, and the kickoff specialist. And back to return is Aaron Terry. Now Shippensburg only had 10 men on the field, so had an added extra lineman out there. Always have to watch for the fake and a 4th and 1. 9:40 to go here in the first quarter. And Dean gets it and gets it away. It's a short one. It'll coast out of bounds. This wind is blowing hard, and this is going to go out of bounds about the 40. They're still moving, 45-yard line.
And you can see when the Vulcans have the football, we talked about it earlier in the open, 325 passing yards. They really like to go through the air. If they can establish that rushing game and get a few more, that'll help them out. And then for Shippensburg, you see what their defense has done. They've done a pretty good job so far, only allowing 13.5 points per game. And then look at what they've done against the rush, 63.5, and then also 270 yards though through the air. The Vulcans may want to take advantage of that.
And on that first drive, California, 27 passing yards, 38 rushing yards. Most of them coming from John Franklin, who ended that series with a rush for 2 yards into the end zone. Harris in the shotgun. McCauley next to him, Franklin behind him. Kind of a broken eye shotgun, you want to call it. Fake handoff to Franklin. Harris under pressure. He's going to roll out. He evades all the pressure, and he throws it out of bounds. Looks like Tom Green was there, but Green stepped out of bounds, so it wouldn't have counted anyways had he caught it.
Yeah, he was trying to go for Tom Green. I thought that Harris was just going to throw that away, but then Green was open on the sideline. But like you said, Zach, he did step out of bounds, so he wasn't an eligible receiver. But a great job right here by Harris, avoiding the couple of defenders for Shippensburg, getting to the outside, and instead of tucking it and running, he decides to throw it. Could have had a possible completion, but he fell down and was also out of bounds.
And Green, his left foot was just on that black line out of bounds. 2nd and 10, 9:23 to go. Hand off to Franklin, has some running room at the middle, and plows over a defender, gains 9 on the play. It'll bring up 3rd and 1.
I am liking what I'm seeing out of Franklin so far today. He's showing a lot of quickness, a lot of burst out of the backfield, but he still is playing that tough style of running, just lowering the shoulder and moving those extra 2 or 3 yards as he ran over one of Shippensburg's defenders right there, bringing up a manageable 3rd down.
And John Franklin's first ever career appearance last year was against Shippensburg. In the last few minutes, he got a few carries. And really didn't think anything of him because he was in garbage time. It didn't really matter much, but he's showing a lot of skill here today. As it'll be another handoff to Franklin. He has enough yards for a first down, just gets it. 2-yard gain. It will count though, 1st and 10 for the Vulcans.
And the delayed draw play right there by the Vulcans, and good vision by Franklin. He didn't see an opening on the right side of the field, so he went over to his left and fell forward, getting that pivotal first down for the Vulcans.
8:33 and running here in the first quarter. Harris in the shotgun with Franklin behind him. And now Franklin moves over to the side in a traditional shotgun motion. Now Harris back to throw onto the outside. That's Kawan Scott, and tries to go around some defenders. Looks like he kind of slow to get up there, but he gets about 8 yards on that play.
That did look like a slightly awkward tackle right there as Kawan Scott didn't fall down. Two defenders coming in on the tackle right here, and he's able to just squeeze his way between them. He almost escaped those tackles, actually, and they did hold on to his left leg, though, and brought him down.
2nd and 2, Harris in the shotgun again. Hand off to Franklin. Franklin going up the middle, has first down and more to the 30-yard line. Gain of 6 on that play. 1st and 10 coming up just outside the red zone.
I want to say Franklin, I think, has ran over at least 2 or 3 Shippensburg defenders so far, as on this play, once again, just lowering the shoulder, pushing his way forward, and the Vulcans continuing to eat clock. They're holding on to the football and giving their defense some rest as they move down the field.
55 rushing yards for the Vulcans already here about halfway through the first quarter. Now Harris in shotgun, 2 sidecars, 1 on each side, 3 receivers. Hand off to Franklin. And it's a draw play up out to the outside. Franklin has running room, 20, 15, and shoved out of bounds about the 12-yard line. A gain of 18 on that play. It'll bring 1st and 10 just outside goal situation.
And let's give some credit to the linemen for the Vulcans right here, doing a great job opening that hole up for Franklin to get through, making their blocks, and this time Franklin almost had a touchdown. He just had to escape to the sideline and go out, but a huge chunk of yardage right there, and the Vulcans down inside the 15.
1st and 10 at the 12. Need 12 for a touchdown, 10 for a new set of downs at the 2. Harris under center, 2 receivers. Franklin yet again calling his number a lot, and he's going to dive forward, get to about the 9-yard line, so it'll be 2nd and 7.
And the Vulcans just continuing to use the ground game so far. It's been effective. Shippensburg, we showed you earlier on, only allowing 63.5 rushing yards a game, and the Vulcans almost have already topped that amount. So
they already have, actually, 73 already in this game.
So they have topped that, and they've done a great job at it, kind of opening up Shippensburg's defense a little bit, because they got to respect the pass coming from Harris out of the backfield.
And having all these running lanes, that just sets up the pass later. The play action, kind of getting the defenders to move up when you have deep threats like Kawan Scott on your team. 2nd and 7 from the 9. Fiore is in for Franklin on this down. Harris gonna throw. Throws it into the end zone. Des Green was there just above him as he leapt for it, but not able to come down. It'll be 3rd and 7.
That ball sailed on Harris just a little bit. He had Green in the back of the end zone, pretty much wide open. He just had to get him the ball, and this one just sailed as he was trying to give that little bit of touch on the ball just to get it over Shippensburg's defensive backs. Didn't work out that time.
6:04 remaining in the first quarter. 3rd and 7 from the 9. This is where California had troubles last week here in the red zone. Harris back to throw, under pressure, escapes to the right, and just throws it out of bounds. And Fiore's saying there should have been interference there as the Shippensburg defender came over him, but that ball was really uncatchable, so no flag there.
That was a smart quarterbacking play right there by Harris. He was getting pressured in the backfield. He rolled out to his right, and no Vulcan receiver was really open on the play, so he threw it away, and that is a good play right there. The Vulcans can at least tack on 3 right here.
This will be a 27-yard kick from the foot of Brazil. He was perfect last week, 2 of 2. 5:57 to go in the first quarter. Kick is up, and it is good. It's no good. Looked like it might have gone just wide right. From this vantage point, it looked good. We will keep it here. We don't have a great replay angle on this one. Maybe it just over the crossbar and right. There was no wind on that one, so he might have been factoring a wind into that one. From this vantage point, though, I still contest that it looked good. It just may have gone over the posts and to the right.
I know, I gave the field goal good signal to you here, Zach. I thought it was good as well, but unfortunately that one did sail off to the right. I think he was trying to compensate for the wind a little bit.
Zapatiki with a man in motion. And it's going to be a misdirection handoff to Smith. He stopped at the line, no gain. It'll be 2nd down.
And the Vulcans so far, their defense hasn't seen much action here this afternoon, but they're coming out and stopping Shippensburg right off the bat. As you can see here, getting penetration into the backfield and doing a very good job with that. That was number 42, Jordan Lardani, in the backfield making the stop.
2nd and 10, 5:30 to go in the first quarter. Zapaticki looking down the field, and it's complete. Receivers out of bounds, though, after a gain of about 7 yards. It'll be 3rd and 3.
That was Sheldon Mayer on the reception right there. There's a couple of senior wide receivers for the Red Raiders getting some action so far. Mayer just going right out of bounds and getting that chunk of yards.
Zapaticki on 3rd and 3. He's going to step up, and he's going to be stopped before the first down. Oh, they gave him a great spot on that one, though. I don't know if they should have given him that spot. He looked like his knee was down before that.
Yeah, they gave the first down to him on this one. We're going to look at the replay. He did fall forward. The ball fell down right near the first down marker, but it looked like his knee probably did hit the ground first.
Now Justin Pyle in the backfield. He's going to rush for about 3 yards. It'll bring up 2nd and 7. So Shippensburg getting a first down call there. California really not arguing, though, with it. 4:45 to go here in the first quarter. Shippensburg trying to get on the board before the end of the first quarter. Smith back in the backfield. Zapaticki under center. A handoff to Smith. And Smith trying to go to the outside. He'll be stopped. No gain, a loss of about 3 yards on the play. This will be 2nd and 9.
And that'll make it actually a long 3rd down here for the Red Raiders. Again, a good stop on the rush right there for the Vulcans. Once again, number 42, Jordan Lardani in the backfield helping to disrupt that run play. And then the Vulcans defenders just jumped all over it for the loss of 3.
And that was Cameron Tarver, number 29, in there as well in the stop. 3rd and 9, Zapaticki in the shotgun. Under some pressure from behind, he's going to roll out and throws it. It's complete to Karan Kent. And he has a first down at the 45-yard line, Vulcan territory. That's a gain of 14.
Yes, and that's the threat that Zapaticki has. He has speed with his legs, and he can tuck it and run. And on this play, I saw one of the Vulcans defenders that was in coverage right there. I wasn't able to catch his number, but he came forward to try to stop Zapaticki, and that allowed Karan Scott to get open and get the first down.
Kent in motion. Zapaticki back to throw. Under some pressure over the middle. It's complete to Kent. A gain of about 4 yards. Bring up 2nd and 6.
And I apologize, I had Kent's name mixed up there. That was Karan Kent that got the first down. He got another reception right there. And so far, Shippensburg is going with these short to intermediate passes, just getting medium range chunks of yardage, 5 to 6 yards every play. And that's a good style to use on your offense. Eat up the clock and continue to move forward.
Handoff at the middle to Pyle. He has a lot of running room over the middle. And there's a flag down, though. So we'll see what the flag is going to be. This could be coming back. I'm not exactly sure based on where this one was thrown.
It looks like one of the Shippensburg linemen actually was moving before the snap. We'll have to wait and see.
It's going to be against California. It's a sideline warning against California. So it's a first down for Shippensburg. 3:10 left at about the 29-yard line in Cal territory.
And we saw a couple of those calls last week against Bloomsburg. Bloomsburg was the one that got a couple of calls, including the Vulcans, but those sideline warnings can hurt you, and it's going to give Shippensburg an extra 5 yards onto that run.
That was a 21-yard rush. Now handoff into the backfield. That's Mayer, and he's going to be stopped by number 22 for the Vulcans. That's Isaiah Scott, a redshirt freshman safety.
And on a wraparound run play like that, that's where the size disadvantage comes into play for Shippensburg. On that play, a couple of their guys weren't able to hold their blocks, and the Vulcans just got into the backfield and stopped that run before it could even get going for a loss.
2:33 left in the first quarter. 2nd and 10, ball on the 29-yard line. Shippensburg is driving. Zapaticki back to throw. Over the middle, tight end, and it's going to be incomplete, they call it. That was Josh Page going for that interception. We'll see here on the replay whether or not it hit the ground.
That was Andrew Smith, the intended receiver on the play. That one went right through his hands, and it just barely skipped off the ground before it was able to be caught. So big break for Shippensburg, and they're going to have another opportunity on 3rd down.
3rd and 10 at the 29. Need to get to the 19 for a new set of downs. Zapaticki with 2 sidecars, 3 receivers. Handoff up the middle to Smith, and he'll be stopped at the 25. Gain of 4 on the play. They'll bring up 4th and 6. We'll see, does Shippensburg go for it or do they kick the field goal?
And right now, Zapaticki and the offense staying on the field, so it looks like the Red Raiders are going to go for it. They're far enough into the Vulcans' territory that they can risk it as we near the end of the first quarter here and try to at least give themselves a chance to tie this thing back up.
Zapaticki going a empty backfield, empty set, 4 receivers on the far side, 4th and 6. Under 2 minutes, Zapaticki under pressure. He gets away from it and he will get a first down. They will give it to him as he gets out about the 17-yard line. So Zapaticki does it himself, picks up 8 on the play.
And sending 5 guys out at receiver. Shippensburg had the Vulcans tricked a little bit right there. Zapaticki had the open field to run. They tried to get the stop right there, but he had that great cutback, fell forward, and was able to get a big first down for Shippensburg.
1st and 10 at the 17. Zapaticki back to throw. Throws it into the end zone, and it is incomplete. Looked like there could have been an interference flag on the play, too. No call. 2nd and 10.
That was in and out of the hands of wide receiver Jordan Harrow there for Shippensburg. He had his man beat. He was going towards the corner, and that ball was going to fall right into his hands. But as you can see right here, he just couldn't get the ball. Falls out of bounds there, and Shippensburg missed an opportunity right there.
1:28 left in the first quarter. Zapaticki back to throw. Over the middle. That's complete to Smith. Taken down at the 15-yard line. So it'll be 3rd and about 3 yards coming up. Another short 3rd down situation.
And this is going to be a big stand for the Vulcans defense. They've been on the field for quite a bit. They got to sum up the energy though right now and try to make this stop once again. Try to keep Shippensburg out of the end zone and keep the 7-0 lead.
3rd down and 3 coming up. Zapaticki will throw into the end zone, and he's shoved out of bounds about the 2-yard line. So it'll be 1st and goal from the 2 for the Red Raiders with 53 seconds left.
And that was a big completion right there for the Red Raiders, getting themselves at least the first down on the play. Zapaticki looking all the way to his left side, and he gets their easy reception for the first down. Now they got an opportunity on the 2-yard line, try to score right here.
That was Aaron Terry, our player to watch on the tackle. 1st and goal at the 2. Man in motion for Shippensburg. Zapaticki's going to throw. Throws it into the end zone. Incomplete out of the back of the end zone. 2nd and goal.
And good coverage right there. That time Zapaticki rolling out to his right, doing the play action right there. Vulcans were expecting the run, but their guys went back into coverage pretty well. Good man coverage scheme. And that one, there was just nobody open. Zapaticki trying to sneak it in there, couldn't do it.
That was Jeff Gulyas, the tight end, the intended receiver on that play. 33 seconds left. 2nd and goal, excuse me, at the 2-yard line. Now Zapaticki calling out a play to his line. They hand off to Smith, and Smith will not get in, but there's a flag. Might be a holding based on where this one is thrown.
And Smith was able to get into the end zone right there following his blocks, but again, this could go back. We'll see what happens.
Offsides against California, so inflicted wounds yet again, and Shippensburg has a chance to tie it up.
And that does hurt the Vulcans. They've had a couple of penalties on this drive that's allowed Shippensburg to move down the field, but let's take a look at this run once again. As you can see right there, a lot of good blocks for Shippensburg as they're able to bust it in for the touchdown, and they have a chance to tie this thing up.
Dean on for the extra point. 29.5 seconds left in the first quarter, and we are all tied up at 7. When we return on CUTV, California gets the ball for the 3rd time. See if they can break the tie when we come back.
Complete news, entertainment, and sports coverage from around the area, region, and nation is found right here on CUTV News Center every Thursday at 5 p.m. with anchors Jennifer Germano, Zach Prosba, entertainment with Mike Mays, and sports with Matt Hagee. Follow us on YouTube, CUTV News Center, and on Twitter, CUTV_PA, for your complete rebroadcast of your Vulcan sports. News Center airs every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Armstrong and Atlantic Broadband.
And we're back. Shippensburg and California all tied at 7. Updating some scores from around the PSAC. Gannon leads Kutztown 14-0. East Stroudsburg just scored, make it 13-0 over Edinburgh, and Lock Haven and IUP tied at 0 late in the first. So Dean kicks it off. This is going to be a long kick, about the 2-yard line. Jimmy Wheeler has it on the return. He has a lane, and he's going up the middle. He has one guy to beat, but there's going to be a flag on the play, so we'll see if this one goes back. Wheeler dragged out of bounds by the kicker, Billy Dean. We'll see. This one will probably be coming back, a block in the back or some sort. We'll see, though, what the ref calls.
And this could be another inflicted wound on the Vulcans, but what a return right there by Wheeler. He found those couple of small holes that he could find right there on the kickoff and is able to take it into Shippensburg territory. What a monster return right there.
And the ref getting ready to call it. And they will move the ball back, so it looks like this one's going on California, and this is going to be deep in their territory. Two fouls on California. There's holding on Brian McCulley, and unsportsmanlike. There's an illegal trench, I believe is what he called on the return. Wheeler, a great return. This is going to set California up at about the 6-yard line.
Yeah, I don't think we caught the hold right there, or either penalty for that matter on the return, but you can see there what a job by Wheeler getting it over to Shippensburg's 35. But again, the penalties are hurting the Vulcans right now as this backed them all the way up to near their own 5-yard lines. They're going to have to put together a monster drive to get up the field and score.
20 seconds left in the first quarter. Harris under center, fakes a handoff, and now does give it to Franklin, and he's going to be stopped for a loss on the play. It'll be 2nd and 11, and that'll be the end of the first quarter most likely. California has about 8 seconds. Let's see if they run a play, but it's going to come off the field. So Damon, that's the end of the first quarter. All tied at 7. California faced with a tough task. 2nd and 11 from their own 5-yard line when we return here on CUTV.
Catch all the excitement under the Friday night lights with CUTV's high school football game of the week. You have the best seats in the house as the area's longest running high school football telecast, now in its 29th season, brings you the area's biggest games. Don't forget to watch the replay on CUTV, Sundays at 8 and Thursdays at 5:30.
And we are back here on CUTV, as well as those of you viewing on the web at calvulcans.com. All tied at 7. California, though, really should be leading this game 10-7. William Brazil a missed field goal, and Shippensburg a penalty-aided drive that allowed them to score. California, that's been their kind of bugaboo early on this year, is the self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, it was a missed opportunity to have the lead right now on the field goal attempt, and then, yeah, there was probably about, I would say, 4 penalties on that drive that Shippensburg was able to gain yardage because of. So the Vulcans need to kind of lower down the amount of penalties they take, and they would be able to probably stop Shippensburg on those drives.
Franklin, a handoff up the middle, gets to about the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and 10. Looks like Harris will be forced to throw in this situation. Always saw this same situation last week where it was a draw to Franklin and he got a first down off of it. So we'll have to see here.
Yeah, this is going to be a risky play with the Vulcans backed up all the way into their own end zone right here. Harris is going to have to try to find a receiver and get it out as quick as possible. Even if you don't get the first down here, just get yourself out of the end zone.
Harris back to throw. Down the field, has the receiver, that's Lomax, incomplete. Was getting shoved a little bit down there as well. No call on the play, so it'll be 4th down and 10, and Ian Patterson will come on to punt from his own end zone.
And Will Hudson, the sophomore for Shippensburg on the coverage right there against Lomax, and both of those guys going back and forth down the field a little bit. Once this ball is put up into the air, you can see just out of our viewing on the bottom of the screen, they were shoving and pushing each other the whole time and just missed that football as it was just out of his reach.
Patterson punts it away. It's going to be a pretty decent punt. Fielding about the 46. Mayer has it, and he steps out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. And there's going to be a flag after the play for a late hit. So this is going to help Shippensburg even more. More self-inflicted wounds. Can't be doing this when you're tied with a team like this.
That was a tough call. I'm wondering if Mayer was out of bounds per se, because I think that hit came right at the corner and he was just out of bounds. So kind of a tic-tac call right there for the refs. And that's going to help Shippensburg and move them down the field even further.
And now we're going to go ahead and look at the schedule around the PSAC. I already updated you to some of the games. East Stroudsburg taking on Edinburgh. They're winning 14-0. Lock Haven leads IEP 3-0 right now. Big game later on today, Mercyhurst at Bloomsburg.
Yeah, that game's going to be going on later, a 2 o'clock start for them. So we'll be updating you throughout the game for that one.
Handoff up the middle to Pyle. He's going to be taken down by Bowman. Won't go down, but now he will. Maybe a gain of 1 on the play as Brewster comes out with the ball, but they're going to say he was down. Or maybe not even down, just stopped his progress.
Justin Paul right there moving forward, and he would not go down at all. The Vulcans had at least 2 or 3 guys wrapped up around him, but he continued to just try to move forward, and that almost could have cost him. The Vulcans could have tried to punch that ball out of his hand and get a fumble on the play, but they were able to bring him down before they did that.
And Pyle to the handoff outside, and he's going to be stopped again. Maybe no gain, they're calling it actually, so 3rd and 9 coming up.
And the Vulcans defense trying to make a statement. They had that tic-tac call right there on the punt return for Shippensburg, and now they're going to try to stop them right here and make sure they don't have an opportunity to take the lead for the first time today.
And I'm sure they've heard all the stuff about getting gashed in the run game last week, and so far a little bit as well. They probably want to stop that. Now Zapaticki going down the field. It's complete to Pyle, but he's out of bounds, well short of the first down. It'll be about 4th and 3. And Shippensburg is going to kick the field goal.
I was wondering what the Red Raiders were going to do. We saw them go for it a couple of times on 4th down already today, but in this case, being tied at 7, they can just try and go for the field goal and take the lead for the first time today.
It'll be a 36-yard attempt for Billy Dean. The wind is blowing heavily, so he has to account for that. Brazil did miss one here, trying to get that wind behind it as well. Low snap. Dean's kick is up, and it is good. So Billy Dean is able to hit, give Shippensburg their first lead of the game at 10-7. 12:39 remaining in the first half. When we come back, California has a chance to try and retake the lead here on CUTV.
The Multimedia Access Center is an open lab where California University students can work on an assignment, attend a workshop, print a document for class, or take advantage of a variety of services such as large format printing, web development, and graphic design. Located in the renovated Natali Student Center across from the student bookstore, the Mac Lab is also your home for OrgSync support and services. For hours of operation or for more information, stop by the Mac Lab, visit our website, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter.
And we are back. California now down 10-7. Went on a touchdown drive their first time and have not been able to score since. 12:39 remaining in the first half. Wheeler and Dandridge are back to receive the kick. Wheeler's going to get it at about the 6-yard line. Let's see what he can do this time. Had a great return the first time. And he's going to keep going and taking down about the 27.
And not as far of a return there for Wheeler, but that one he had to fight for every single yard that he could get. He threw a couple spin moves in there and was trying to just turn his legs and move forward as much as possible. And now, Zach, it'll be interesting. Can the Vulcans offense respond after Shippensburg's been able to put up 10 unanswered points here today? And if they can answer back, this could be an interesting offensive battle the rest of the way.
Oh, I expected it to be anyways. I thought this was going to be a shootout in every which way. Both teams scoring at least 28 points. California put up 50 last year. I thought maybe they could do the same thing. I think James Harris really misses Gary Brown, though. He's your possession guy, and I think he's missing him in that open field and receivers. Harris under center. Broken eye formation. Franklin is the running back. There'll be a handoff at the middle to Franklin. Breaks through a couple defenders and gains about 2 yards. It'll be 2nd and 8. And I think another thing here, Damon, you're relying on the run game a lot, and Shippensburg's expecting it. You need to get Harris going, I think.
Yeah, if the Vulcans are able to get the ball in the air a little bit, we talked about them establishing the run game. They've done that, but now if they're able to incorporate the passing game in with that, this offense could go off today if the Vulcans can make that work.
Harris fakes the handoff, throws over the middle. That's Smorey. He has the catch, and that's a 1st down. Luke Smorey, great catch over the middle and taking the hit, and that's going to bring it 1st and 10 for the Vulcans.
And that is exactly what we're talking about right there. You run the ball a decent amount of times, and then you start throwing those play-action wrinkles in there, and you get guys open, just like Smorey was right there for an easy 1st down.
That was number 6, Berkey, on the stop. So 6 against 6 on that play. Harris back to throw again, under pressure, goes deep downfield. He has Kawan Scott, and it is caught, and he's gonna get tripped up by Cheatham, but there's where that height disadvantage comes in. Kawan Scott, a great acrobatic catch.
Kawan Scott saw that ball all the way. That was an absolute bomb by Harris right there down the field. As you're gonna watch, it just gunslings it, and Scott just continued to run. He had the height advantage over Cheatham, and he's able to make the great catch. Almost broke away from the tackle too, but he fell down at the 5, and the Vulcans with a great opportunity.
And that's the same thing that happened last year. Cheatham's a great corner, but he cannot cover Kawan Scott. We saw that last year and right there on that play. So 11-17, Harris hands it off to Franklin. Into the end zone. Touchdown, California. It's 13-10 with a chance for the extra point coming up. Great drive there. That's what Harris needed. He's lacked that deep ball threat the last couple quarters, and he got it back there with Kawan Scott.
And he got that massive bomb to Scott. That has to be a big confidence booster for him and this offense, because you get that big deep threat going, and then Franklin just goes right in at those 2 extra yards, and the Vulcans answering back very, very quickly.
Brazil on for the extra point. Kick is up, and it is good. California has a 14-10 lead, 11-14 remaining in the 1st half. Very quick drive by the Vulcans. Shippensburg going to try and respond when we return.
Save preset 1 for Cal U's best music. More music in the car, more music in the door, more music everywhere. This is 91.9 WCAL Power 92. The home of the Vulcan Nation, playing Cal U's best music. 91.9 WCAL. WCAL Power 92.
And we are back. Brazil's kick is away. It's a deep one, going to go into the end zone. Smith, it will bring it out, and he's going to have a great return here and get tackled down at about the 24-yard line. So just a little bit more than a touchback would be. But California, that last drive, we'll look at the touchdown, but the big play was the long completion to Kawan Scott.
Yeah, Kawan Scott set that one up with his reception on the play, and then Franklin's just able to dive it in for 2 yards, and the Vulcans took the lead right back really, really quickly. And now, if you're the Vulcans defense, you made a great stand against Shippensburg on their last drive, only allowing a field goal. And now, after the quick answer, if you stop them right here and get the ball right back into your offense's hands, this could open up for the Vulcans.
Zapaticki in shotgun, fakes the handoff, and he's gonna step up, has some room, gonna run it himself. He's got a lot of room, and he dives down, taken down at the 36, a gain of 12.
Right now, Zapaticki is running wild against this Vulcans defense. Every time he steps up in the pocket, he's able to find a little bit of an opening and gain extra yards.
Now pass to Mayer on the screen, and Mayer's going to be taken down for a gain of about 5. We'll bring up 2nd and 5.
And it looks like Shippensburg going with a little bit of a hurry-up offense right here as they're hurrying up to the line of scrimmage between each play, trying to keep the Vulcans defense on their toes.
Zapaticki, another pass to Mayer on the screen. Mayer trying to get to the outside, has some room. He'll be short of the first down, It'll be about 3rd and 2. So let's see, does Shippensburg go the screen route again with Mayer and try and hurry this Vulcans defense up?
They're trying to use their speed to their advantage right now, trying to run these plays as quick as possible and catch a tired Vulcans defense out there on the field and get Tina to move down the field. They're doing a good job of it right now. We'll see if it can keep up.
Arnell Farmer is safety, moving into the box near the outside linebacker position. Aaron Terry down on the near side, covering a receiver for the Raiders. 3rd and 2. Need to get to the 46, 9:50 to go. Zapaticki fakes the handoff. He's under pressure. He won't be stopped yet, and he's going to be short. Gains a yard on the play. California not letting Zapaticki escape on that one. And we'll see the Shippensburg punt it based on the 4th down and where they're at.
Now Zapaticki on that play was able to avoid a couple of defenders moving forward. A good spin move right there, but he fell down at the 45, just short of the 1st down. And right now, that was Arnell Farmer Jr. making the stop for the Vulcans. And right now, Shippensburg is going to punt it away. They're not going to try to go for it, being at midfield, still on their side of the field.
Aaron Terry back to return the punt. Have to watch the fake. There are a couple of guys out to the far side for Shippensburg. And Shippensburg, again, the last time they had a punt, they only had 10 guys. They do it again here. They send him out as another gunner. And now there's going to be a flag. That's going to be delay of game. That's going to be against Shippensburg. This is twice. You've only had 10 guys out there. That's an inexcusable penalty to me. That's a big self-inflicted wound.
Yeah, Shippensburg special teams unit just can't seem to get the right amount of guys on the field and get themselves lined up. This time it cost them a couple of yards on the play, and now the Vulcans might get better field position because of this.
It'll be about 4th and 6 now. Aaron Terry back to return at his own 23-yard line. Good snap. Dean gets it away. Terry has it, and he's going to escape some defenders, be taken down at the 35. So a return of about 11 yards. And there is a flag. This might be going against Shippensburg. It's a late flag. As we look at the PSAC West standings right here, Clarion, Gannon, Mercyhurst, and Slippery Rock all 2-0. That's definitely going to change in the coming weeks as they start divisional play.
Yeah, once divisional play kicks up, things are going to change quite a bit. You see the Vulcans starting at 1-1, and now once you get into that divisional play, that's when it really starts to matter.
And the flag after the play, personal foul against Shippensburg. So this helps the return. It's a 15-yard penalty. This will set California up right at midfield, which is where James Harris likes to take his shots to Kawan Scott and his other deep threats.
That was Richard Nace Jr., the defensive lineman for Shippensburg, on the penalty. He just shoved one of the Vulcans players straight down to the ground after the whistle was blown, so a costly penalty for Shippensburg. The Vulcans catching a break here. We'll see if they can't take advantage, especially through the air on this drive.
And we'll see if Harris, he's in a shotgun, see if he goes deep. He's going to fake the handoff. He goes on the screen to Fiore, stays in bounds, and gets about 9 or 10. See where they spot him. And they'll give him 9 yards on the play, so it'll be 2nd and 1.
Great job by Fiore right here. He's had a good game so far, out of the backfield and spreading out wide as a receiver, fighting off the defender right there and falling forward before going out of bounds, just short of the 1st down.
8:33 and running left in the first half. California looking to extend their 4-point lead. Harris in the shotgun again. Hand off to Franklin. He gets the 1st down and a few more. Down to the 38-yard line, a gain of 3.
And that rushing game for the Vulcans has still been fairly big so far. Franklin with both of the touchdowns today, and this time just falling forward, getting those couple extra yardage for the 1st down. And the Vulcans now starting to mix it up between the pass and the run. And if they can continue doing that, this offense, again, they already scored 1 touchdown. Doing that, see if they can't get another one.
Harris 1st and 10, 8 minutes to go in the first half. Harris, hand off again to Franklin. He gets to the outside, has some blockers. He's at the 30, trucks over another defender. That's Cheatham, our player to watch, down to the 30-yard line, a gain of 8.
And Franklin showing that speed and elusiveness, going to the outside right there. He didn't see anything going up the middle, and he just went all the way around the lineman, getting to open space and using his speed and his quickness to get a few more yards and a manageable 2nd and 2.
7.5 minutes left now. California really getting a rhythm on offense. Harris throws it, and over the head of Lomax. Lomax was looking right at Harris. Just saw the ball go over his head, didn't really make a move at it. So we'll bring up 3rd and 2.
A little bit of miscommunication right there between Harris and Lomax, as Lomax kind of stopped up. He had a defender over top of him, so he wanted to catch the short ball and try to get the first down. And because of that incompletion, the Vulcans now 3rd and 2. Big 3rd down right here for Shippensburg's defense.
And one player I'm looking at, Ryan McCulley, fullback for the Vulcans, number 41. One of the best plays they use in this offense is the rollout of the fullback on a screen play, and he can get some short yardage situations. Like to see that here. It's going to be a handoff to Franklin. He's got running room, though, and it's a first down and more to the 20. Trucking, 18-yard line, 19, excuse me, is really going to mark him. That's a gain of 11 and a first down.
And no rollout right there as the Vulcans just went with a straight run to the left side, and why not? Franklin's been doing that all game long and doing a great job at it as he pushes forward and continues to truck over defenders for the first down.
1st and 10 at the 19. This is the best John Franklin has looked all year. 106 rushing yards for the Vulcans. That's their first time over 100 as a team all season. Fake handoff. Harris. That's to Des Green on the screen. He's got it. 10. Down to the 6-yard line. Actually, they're going to mark him at the 8, not the 6. 1st and goal, nonetheless, for the Vulcans.
And there's that play-action play that's been paying off for the Vulcans today. Des Green was open in the middle of the field. Almost broke free on that reception. But unfortunately, he was dragged down by his jersey as Shippensburg made sure he wasn't going to get in the end zone right there. That was Chad Miller.
Harris, 1st and goal, 6:35 left in the first half. It's going to be a handoff to Fiore. Fiore will be stopped at the line, though. No gain, 2nd and goal.
And that time, Fiore in the backfield as they were giving Franklin a little bit of a break. That was Kevin Goldsmith for Shippensburg making the stop right there as he just manhandled Fiore and got him to the ground. He didn't want him getting any yardage at all.
And he broke the block from McCauley. It looks like McCauley was going out to block on the outside if Fiore was to get there, but Goldsmith just a great play penetrating into the backfield. 2nd and goal, 3 receivers on the near side. That's Smory, Lomax, and Des Green, the tight end. Harris looking to that side, throws into the end zone, and it's caught. Devin Lomax on the reception. There's a flag. This one should go on Shippensburg. There was holding in the end zone. It's a touchdown for the Vulcans. This one should be holding against Shippensburg, but we'll see what the call is. Because Des Green was being held and could not move to the ball.
Yeah, Green was the initial target, I believe, for Harris right there, and he was held and hauled to the ground on that one. Luckily, Green was in the back of the end zone.
They're going to call interference on Shippensburg. It's declined, of course. Touchdown for the Vulcans. This one went to Lomax right here from about 8 yards out.
And you'll take a look. You might see Green in our screen right there being hauled and mocked around right there by Shippensburg, but there was Lomax in the back of the end zone making the catch for the touchdown, so it all paid off for the Vulcans.
On for the extra point is Brazil. It's up, and it is no good as Brazil is having struggles with the win today. It's 20-10 nonetheless. Vulcans up by 10 points, 5:51 left in the first half. When we come back, the Red Raiders will have a chance to respond on CUTV.
First published in the 1880s, the California Times is the oldest student media at California University. Circulating 3,000 issues weekly on campus and in the surrounding community, the Times' mission is to deliver fair and balanced news to the student population of California University. All students are welcome to be a part of the California Times. Our offices are located in the Natali Student Union. Keep up to date with the Times online at www.caltimes.org, Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
And we're back. Brazil ready to kick it off from the 35. This is a deep kick well into the end zone. Smith will bring it out from a couple yards deep. And he'll be taken. Oh my goodness, what a play from Errol Brewster. Came out of a shotgun on that one to take down the return man. What a play.
Errol Brewster was running down the field like a freight train, and he ran right into Andrew Smith. And we're going to look at the touchdown right here, though, again. Falcons able to use their offense to their advantage, getting down the field quickly and getting the touchdown. Lomax with a catch in the back of the end zone on that one, so good job by the Falcons.
And I wish we could see that tackle again instead of the touchdown. That was a great play by Brewster. He broke his tackle and just immediately attacked Smith, setting him at the 13-yard line with 5:48 left. And Zapaticki throws, and it is going to be caught for a first down at the 24-yard line, a gain of 11.
That was Jordan Harrow on the reception right there as he was falling down, getting that ball. And Shippensburg again going with the hurry-up offense right here.
They need a response after 2 consecutive scoring drives for the Vulcans. Zapaticki using his cadence and hand off to Pyle up the middle. He will shed a defender and be taken down for a gain of about 5 yards. 2nd and 5 coming up.
And Pyle's been able to fight for quite a few yards already today. He's just continued to move his legs and continue to fall forward for those extra yards. And that's a big part of this hurry-up offense, that rushing game for Shippensburg.
Zapaticki under pressure and taken down. That's Cameron Tarver on the sack, number 29. Great rush in there from the defensive line.
And Cameron Tarver just coming off the edge right there, going after Zapaticki, and that's going to be a huge chunky yardage loss for Shippensburg, and it's going to be a long 3rd down. And there is Tarver just going around his blocker and making the sack.
It's going to be 3rd and 15 now at the 19. Under pressure again is Zapaticki. He's tripped up and taken down by Maihoki, number 98 for the Vulcans. So this will be 4th down, and Shippensburg will punt yet again. California will receive it about midfield and have an opportunity to score yet again with 4:20 remaining.
And all the momentum right now is on the Vulcans side. They've gotten a couple of touchdowns in a row on the offensive side of the ball and 2 straight sacks right here. You're stopping Shippensburg's high-powered offense and giving your offense the ball right back.
It looks like California on both sides of the ball has found rhythm again. That's what they were lacking. It seems they found it. Terry at the 50-yard line waiting to return the punt. And here's the snap. Dean gets it. And it's a short kick. Actually, it's going to be pretty deep after the wind helps it. Down to the 40-yard line. Terry around some defenders. Spins around and taken down about the 47-yard line in Cal territory.
That was a booming punt. The wind is going that direction down the field, so he was able to get a little bit of aid right there. As the Falcons are actually going to be back in their own territory to start, but right near midfield, another great spot to start. And we'll see, are they going to air it out again to Kawan Scott, or are they going to keep it on the ground with Franklin? It's a toss-up right now.
Well, I think Harris is trying to use some of his other receivers, go over the middle with Smorey and Green and Lomax. Kawan Scott is on the far side of the field. Matchup against number 24 for Shippensburg. That is Kevin Taylor II. He's still only 5'10". Harris looking his way. He's going downfield. Kawan Scott. Great breakup by Kevin Taylor there. And Taylor paid the price as he's slow to get up.
That was an incredible defensive play right there by Taylor. He just laid out, gave it everything he got, and deflected that definite touchdown away for the Vulcans. And Taylor's getting tended to right now by the trainers.
And that was a great play by Taylor. Unfortunately, he paid the price for it. And I guess the best way you can say it is he went down a fighter, but not a great way to spin it either way.
No, I'm sure the team is very happy with that defensive play, but if he's out of this game because of an injury, that is a loss for Shippensburg's defense, as he made just a fantastic stop right there on Kawan Scott, who's had their way so far today.
And looking at the Red Raiders quickly, as Taylor is able to run off the field under his own power, so we'll see if he's able to come back. But the Red Raiders, they're 2-0 in this game, but they're staring down a Vulcans team, finding their rhythm again and looking to bring their record to 2-1 after a heartbreaking defeat against Bloomsburg, a game they should have won.
Yeah, it was a tough loss for the Vulcans to take last week, and I'm sure they came out this week trying to prove a lot of doubters wrong and answer back for that loss, and so far they've had a fantastic first half in this one.
Harris in a shotgun, 2nd and 10, handoff to Franklin up the middle, gains a couple yards. It'll be 3rd and 8 with 3:30 remaining.
And this is a big stand for Shippensburg defense. The Vulcans have been able to run down the field the last 2 drives and score, with Franklin helping out right there, getting a couple yards. But if Shippensburg can stop them right here, they're going to have a little bit of time left in this half to try to make this an even closer game instead of a 10-point deficit.
I think this is the situation, though, where Harris really benefits the most, is these 3rd and longs trying to find receivers. Harris, and it's caught. That is Kawan Scott on the reception to the 38-yard line. That's a gain of 23 on the play.
And Scott was not able to get the touchdown on the deep ball to start this drive off, but right here, curling back, just needed the first down. That's about it, and that's all he got right there, getting across the 40 and giving the Vulcans that new set of downs.
Actually, that's a 13-yard gain, not a 23-yard gain. I added a little bit too much yardage on that one, so I apologize for that. 1st and 10, 2:45 remaining in the half. Fake handoff, Harris to the receiver. That is Tom Green. It's a short completion for about 3 yards against Cheatham.
And good concentration right there by Green. Cheatham was all over that play, both guys going for the ball, and Green was able to pull that ball in just before Cheetah was able to possibly pick that off. That would have been a big interception right there for Shippensburg.
2:15 remaining in the first half. 2nd and 7. It's a handoff to Fiore. He's got some running room, and he gains about 4 yards, so it'll bring up 3rd and 3 for the Vulcans.
And Fiore trying to get as many yards as he could right there. Took a small army of Shippensburg defenders to get him to the ground. As you see here, rolling out to his right and just wanting to get as many yards as he could, set up a manageable 3rd and 3 right now for the Vulcans.
And his shoulder pad is out. I thought that was the ball. I thought the ball came loose. It's just his shoulder pad is out from his jersey and flapping as he runs. And 1:35 remaining in the half. And during halftime, we will be covering the Shippensburg and CalU bands as they perform. Harris over the middle. It's complete to Smory. He's going to run into the end zone as they're breaking some tackles. What a play. Luke Smory. Can I have some more? Luke Smory getting the points there.
I'll get the bonfire kindled up as we get those s'mores out there for Smory. He just got that pass and was able to walk his way into the end zone, spun off 2 defenders who were trying to bring him down. And the Vulcans now have had 3 straight touchdowns against Shippensburg after they had 10 unanswered points. So this offense is clicking right now for the Vulcans.
That was Alan Holman and Will Hudson who he deflected away. Now Brazil on for the extra point. Missed it from here earlier. This one is up, and this one is good. So it's a 26 or 27-10 lead. Vulcans look to hold for another minute and a half on CUTV. And we are back. California with a 27-10 lead after 3 consecutive scoring drives. James Harris finding Luke Smory 32 yards out for the score. And Brazil ready to kick it off. 1:26 remaining for Shippensburg to try and respond. This kick will send Smith out of bounds in the end zone. That'll be a touchback. And Damon, let's look back at that Smory touchdown right here.
And Harris has had a good game. He's had a good game so far today, just being able to put this ball deep and putting it over the field. A lot better than we saw him last week. And that time Smory making the reception over the middle of the field, spinning up a couple of defenders and getting into the end zone for the Vulcans' 3rd straight touchdown against Shippensburg's defense.
And what I love about Smory is he's not the name you know really well outside the program, Kawan Scott, Gary Brown, but he's a very good 3rd receiver, a good option for Harris if the other 2 guys are covered. Shippensburg with Zapatiki comes out. Smith up the middle. He's going to gain about 5 yards on the carry.
And it looks like with Shippensburg running the ball here with about 1:20 left, it looks like they're just going to want to go into halftime with the score the way it is.
And Shippensburg gets the ball to start the second half as well. So that is something that I think works to their advantage. 1 minute left. Zapatiki, quick screen. And it's going to go out of bounds. It'll be about 3rd and 3 coming up. On that reception was number 84. That was Paris Marshall.
And I may have actually been wrong. Shippensburg going back to the passing game now. They may try to continue to roll down the field. Just under 1 minute left in this first half. They can get themselves into field goal range. They could at least tack on 3 or even go for a shot at the end zone as well.
56 seconds left, and there are 3 timeouts left for both of these teams. Zapatiki's going to run it himself, and he will get the first down. Looked like he shed a tackle from Jawan Turner on the play. He just gets enough for a new set of downs.
And someone got a hand on him in the backfield. I thought the Vulcans were going to be able to stop this right off the bat, but he was able to fall forward and get the first down. That was Jawan Turner that got a hand on Zapatiki in the backfield to no avail, to first down for Shippensburg.
I don't think there's a timeout being called here by Shippensburg, but the refs are conferring maybe a play clock situation.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They may have also spotted the ball wrong, and they're trying to get everything set up right.
And they're actually going to move the game clock to 51 seconds after the clock did not properly stop after the first down was picked up. As now they will start the clock again after the ball is set. Zapatiki back to throw, under pressure. Brewster not able to get him, and that one is complete. Aaron Terry with the tackle. That's good for a first down.
And Jordan Harrow again on the outside, and Shippensburg calls the timeout right here. Actually, no, they do not. They're going to continue to just go down the field. They're not going to call any timeouts.
Brewster trying to get to Zapatiki. Zapatiki will run it himself, and he will get out of bounds. No, they're going to say he's going to keep going. They're going to let the clock keep running.
Stop by Terry.
So now Shippensburg will take a timeout with 25 seconds left exactly. I'm surprised that when Zapatiki got out, they didn't stop the clock, but I guess they're saying, you know, you were contacted in the field and then you ran out of bounds.
We'll take a look at this on our field camera right here as he was going out to his left. He may have possibly, he did get hit before he went out of bounds, but you're right, I'm surprised they didn't stop the clock right there because he made his way fully out of bounds before falling over.
That was Aaron Terry on the tackle, our player to watch. That was an 8-yard gain, so it brings up 2nd and 2. 25 seconds left. 2 timeouts for Shippensburg. And I guess the reasoning for not using those timeouts before is you wanted to get a little bit deeper into the field and then start using your timeouts and hurry up. The problem, though, with attempting a field goal, the wind is really blowing again. It's going from right to left, basically from our direction onto the field, and that could really affect the field goal try here at the end of the half.
Yeah, it's almost like Heinz Field a little bit up here today. The wind is just blowing, especially on the end that Shippensburg is going towards, so a field goal try may be a little tricky.
Zapatiki back to throw, under pressure, and he'll be taken down. That's Cameron Tarver. That's his 2nd sack of the day, and a timeout taken by Shippensburg.
That's a big sack for the Vulcans. That pushes Shippensburg back onto their own side of the field. And that's a 3rd sack already, like you said, Tarver with his 2nd of the day. This Vulcans defensive line doing a great job getting to the backfield and getting to the quarterback.
And Tarver will have to sit out a play after his helmet came off. That's a rule in NCAA. If your helmet comes off, you must sit out a play just for fear of injury concerns. As now we'll look at the PSAC East standings, and Shippensburg right now, the only undefeated team. Bloomsburg and Kutztown right behind them. Bloomsburg starts actually about 10 minutes ago. We'll update that a little bit later. Kutztown down 28-7 to Gannon right now.
Maybe you can see the PSAC East teams having a little bit of trouble to start the season. A lot of teams at 0-2, and Shippensburg is the only undefeated one. The Vulcans, though, hoping to put a 1 in that loss column after the game here today.
And other scores, East Stroudsburg up 27-0 over Edinburgh with 5 minutes before the half, and IUP up 10-3 on Lockhaven about a minute before half. So 3rd and 9, 18 seconds left, Zapatiki in shotgun. And he's almost taken down by Brewster, and this is a deep throw. There's a receiver there, and it's incomplete. Went through his hands, and then the defender for California is able to knock him out. That was Josh Page.
And Karan Kent was wide open on that far side. The Vulcans defensive line again getting to Zapatiki, showing a little bit of escapability right here, avoiding one defender and then getting that ball off before he is rocked to the ground. And Kent had his hands on this one, but it went right through his hands before he was able to get that catch.
And Shippensburg will just punt it away with 9.7 seconds left. You have to watch, though. Aaron Terry could break one here if it's returnable punt.
And a punt return like that for a touchdown would just open this game up right before half for the Vulcans.
This is basically the same setup as it was last year, where California had a lot of points. Shippensburg didn't before the half. It's now there's going to be a stoppage. That's a delay of game on Shippensburg again.
And this punting unit for Shippensburg is just having problems getting their players lined up in the correct positions, and they're going to have to back them up even more, and now a better chance for the Vulcans to break something off.
And some time was taken off the game clock. They do reset it, though, so still 9.7 seconds left. Terry with an opportunity to return it. This will be spotted at about the 44-yard line in ship territory, excuse me. Terry at his own 15 to return it. Dean's punt is away. It's a deep one, taken at about the 5. Terry, 4 defenders there. He evades them all. He breaks another tackle. He's at the 20. He's got some room. He's in midfield. He's going around. He's going to take it back. So, as I said, he could take it back, but there's a flag right in midfield, so we'll see. Our player to watch, Aaron Terry, may have taken this one back, and we'll see if it stands.
I saw a large block get thrown in the back as Terry was bringing that up. I'm not sure if that's going to be what the call is. That is where the flag is placed currently. But what a return by Aaron Terry. We were just talking about it. He could break one off right here, and he did just that. But the referees are talking, and they're going to see what this penalty is going to be.
And I'll make the argument, Shippensburg's defender was really harassing one of the Cal blockers. It could be going against Shippensburg, but who knows? Let's see what the ref will call on this play.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see the replay on that one. I know there was a large block thrown for the Vulcans so that Terry could get around to that outside and get into the end zone for the touchdown, but it could go against Shippensburg. We'll have to wait and see.
You see Coach Keller there trying to ask the refs what is going on, and here's the call from the official. And actually now the official's coming over to talk with Keller. And we'll see, based on the reaction of Keller, may be able to tell you, who this penalty is on.
Yeah, there's a little bit of confusion going on both sidelines wanting to know
Oh,
what
it's
it
a
is.
touchdown. Chaz Field saying touchdown. Aaron Terry took it back. The real deal, Chaz Field, the official for the Vulcans, as the official goes over to talk to Shippensburg's coaching staff now. This one will count. Aaron Terry, about a 95-yard return.
And let's take a look. This is the block. We might be able to see it coming on your left side of your screen right here where he just leveled one of Shippensburg players. And actually a Shippensburg player lost his helmet as well, so a couple of things going on right there. But Aaron Terry was able to get through all of that and take it into the end zone, and I'm sure the referees are trying to figure that out. Right now, Shippensburg's coach is livid on the sideline.
And I can imagine, I think what happened on that play, it wasn't a block in the back. I think it was a block in the side, and you cannot call a penalty on that. That's not penalizable. I don't know if that's a word. But now it's 33-10. Vulcans with an extra point will send it 34-10. There's no time left, and California coasting in halftime with a big play from our player to watch. Maybe not on the defensive side, but special teams counts as well.
Special teams is a big part of the game, and I think that is a new word that you could probably put in the dictionary, Zach, so we're going to put that on there if it's not there already. And, yeah, that block on the side, he didn't go from behind and block him, so it was a good block.
Unsportsmanlike conduct now against Shippensburg. That'll be enforced on the second half kickoff. So Brazil will be kicking off from midfield, basically setting up Shippensburg with bad field position to start the second half. Brazil ready for the extra point. Could make it a 24-point lead. Kick is up, and it is good. So Damon, big return there for Aaron Terry. And California seems to have their swagger back going into halftime.
They have all the momentum right now going into halftime. The offense is clicking, the defense is making stops, and the special teams brought one back for a touchdown. It's an all-around great game for the Vulcans right now.
So when we come back, you will see the Cal and Shippensburg bands, and then after that, second half action here on CUTV.
The Multimedia Access Center is an open lab where California University students can work on an assignment, attend a workshop, print a document for class, or take advantage of a variety of services such as large format printing, web development, and graphic design. Located in the renovated Natali Student Center across from the student bookstore, the Mac Lab is also your home for OrgSync support and services. For hours of operation or for more information, stop by the Mac Lab, visit our website, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter.
Save preset 1 for Cal U's best music. More music in the car. More music in the door. More music everywhere. This is 91.9 WCAL Power 92. The home of the Vulcan Nation. Playing Cal U's best music. 91.9 WCAL. WCAL Power 92.
First published in the 1880s, the California Times is the oldest student media at California University. Circulating 3,000 issues weekly on campus and in the surrounding community, the Times' mission is to deliver fair and balanced news to the student population of California University. All students are welcome to be a part of the California Times. Our offices are located in the Natali Student Union. Keep up to date with the Times online at www.caltimes.org, Facebook, and follow us on Twitter.
Complete news, entertainment, and sports coverage from around the area, region, and nation is found right here on CUTV News Center every Thursday at 5 p.m. with anchors Jennifer Germano, Zach Prosba, entertainment with Mike Mays, and sports with Matt Hagee. Follow us on YouTube, CUTV News Center, and on Twitter, CUTV_PA, for your complete rebroadcast of your Vulcan sports. News Center airs every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Armstrong and Atlantic Broadband.
And welcome back. It's halftime here at Adamson Stadium. Special treat for you watching on TV as well as those online viewers right now. The Shippensburg University Band, and then following that will be the California Vulcan Band. Enjoy.
Once again, for the Shippensburg University Red Raider Marching Band. The Red Raider Band would like to thank Dr. Frank Stassar and the California University Marching Band for the opportunity to perform for you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, California University of Pennsylvania and its interim president Geraldine Jones are proud to present the 2015 Gallium Marching Band. This year's show is titled Vulcan Royalty, with music from the members of the Royal Family of Rock and Roll. We will start with the Royal Family second in command with Sir Duke by Escaping Wonder. Next we will feature Your Song by our Royal Knight Sir Elton John. And we will close our show with a piece by the final member of our Royal Family, Queen, and their 1975 composition, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Don't miss your chance to catch the best pro wrestling on the planet. Ring of Honor returns to the Pittsburgh area at the Convo Center at Cal U, Friday, September 25th at 7:30 p.m. with appearances by the Briscoes, Jay Lethal, Adam Cole, and many more. Experience body slamming, super kicking pro wrestling action live. Visit ROHWrestling.com now for tickets and info.
Catch all the excitement under the Friday Night Lights with CUTV's High School Football Game of the Week. You have the best seats in the house as the area's longest running high school football telecast, now in its 29th season, brings you the area's biggest games. Don't forget to watch the replay on CUTV, Sundays at 8 and Thursdays at 5:30.
Complete news, entertainment, and sports coverage from around the area, region, and nation is found right here on CUTV News Center every Thursday at 5 p.m. with anchors Jennifer Germano, Zach Prosba, entertainment with Mike Mays, and sports with Matt Hagee. Follow us on YouTube, CUTV News Center, and on Twitter, CUTV_PA, for your complete rebroadcast of your Vulcan sports. News Center airs every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Armstrong and Atlantic Broadband.
Since 1937, the Student Association Incorporated, known as SAI, has served the Cal U student body by providing activities, programs, and services. Every enrolled student has the ability to take part in over 125 different clubs and organizations. Managing participation in every SAI activity is easy with OrgSync, a powerful tool for staying connected. Located 1 mile from campus, the SAI Farm has 94 acres of meeting and recreational space. SAI, it's your student association.
And welcome back. Second half about to start here at Adamson Stadium, where the California Vulcans currently lead the Shippensburg Red Raiders 34-10. And Damon, looking at our halftime stats, California is really dominated in every category. They've cleaned up the penalties, and that's what's given them this huge lead.
Yeah, they are clicking on all cylinders right now. We talked about it in the open. They needed to get their rushing game going, and for the first time this season, they have topped 100 yards, getting 112 in that first half, and almost 300 yards of total offense to go along with that. And their defense, doesn't show it in the stats right there, has been phenomenal, shutting down Shippensburg's offense on a couple of occasions already.
And I think one of the big stats that isn't on our halftime stats, but it's a critical one, no sacks against James Harris. Now, that was the same way against Bloomsburg, but it seems the line is doing a lot better today.
And they're also opening up those running lanes for Franklin and everybody else that is in that backfield today, so they're doing a fantastic job at that as well.
Now Brazil will be kicking off from the 50-yard line after the penalty against Shippensburg on unsportsmanlike conduct was added to this kickoff. So Brazil will kick it out of the end zone. Actually, not out of the end zone, just back to the end. So Shippensburg will be setting up about the 25-yard line.
Now for the Red Raiders, we'll see if this halftime has helped them kind of collect themselves a little bit. It's been high scoring between these two teams the last few times they've met, and Shippensburg was able to add on a bunch of points last year against the Vulcans at the end of the game to make it interesting. So we'll see if they kind of gather themselves together at halftime and can come out with a little bit of at least pop or anything like that, just try to get themselves going.
And updating you on a game that just started a while ago, Mercyhurst up 14-0 on Bloomsburg with 5:46 remaining in the first quarter. California, of course, losing to Bloomsburg last week, has Mercyhurst at the end of the season. Now hand off to Smith. He's going to get to the outside, has some running room, and he'll gain about 8 yards. And there's going to be a flag for a late hit again. I don't know if you could really call that because he wasn't out of bounds by the time that the hit came. He was just intending to go out, I guess you could say, but it's a close call in my opinion.
There are some ticky-tacky penalties today being called by these referees. That's the second time today that they're going to call a late hit on the Vulcans for a player that was just barely, if anything, out of bounds. As we take a look at it right here, Smith cutting out to his right, and the Vulcans chasing after him. He was intending to just go out of bounds, and I think it was the second one that they called up, but that was even still close as well, as he was just about to go out of bounds.
So 1st and 10 at the 49 for Shippensburg now. 14:45 left in the third quarter. 4 receivers, trips on the near side. Zapaticki back to throw. Has a receiver, and it sends him out of bounds. Gain of 8 on the play for Mayer.
That was a good pass coming out here in the second half for Zapaticki, just getting that one over to Mayer, who was open on the far side of the field. And he was able to just tiptoe his feet in bounds. And right now, Shippensburg moving down the field pretty effectively to start, at least, on this drive.
And this is following the same script as the last game that these two teams played last year, where California was up big and Shippensburg scored in the second half, but it wasn't enough. Zapaticki again throws here, and receiver goes down under his own accord. Looks like that was Mayer who tripped up. So it's incomplete. 3rd and 2 coming up.
That's the second time he's gone over to that far side, and Mayer seems to be having a little bit of problems with his footwork so far to start this half. He kind of just tiptoed his way to keep himself in bounds on the catch, and then on that one he just fell over and wasn't able to make the catch at all.
Zapaticki in shotgun. He's back to throw. Under pressure, he's going to step up, and he'll be taken down right at the necessary yardage. Looks like they will give it to him, though. It's a first down.
And that's a gritty play by Zapaticki, just going when the pressure is coming from the edges. He steps up and is able to take the hit right here to just get that first down. And that was Rapchick, number 31 for the Vulcans, getting there on the tackle.
He led the team in first half tackles. He had 7, about halfway to his total last week. And Zapaticki a screen throw, and that's blown up by Aaron Terry. Great tackle there. And now that's going to be actually that's Arnell Farmer. And that's going to be a late penalty for a taunting, it looks like this could be.
Yeah, it looks like it was a little bit of a taunting right there as he got up and stared him down as he was getting up off the ground. And that's about the 4th or 5th unsportsmanlike conduct today for the Vulcans, but that was a monster hit, though.
And that was a big hit, and as he's getting up, just stood over him. I don't know if that's enough to warrant a penalty. You see that all the time in the game, and it's never called. Anyways, Shippensburg again driving with the help of some California penalties. Smith flanks out to a slot receiver. Zapaticki throws, and it's incomplete, almost intercepted by Jordan Bowman, who went up try and tip it to himself.
And Bowman got up and almost got that. That ball was tipped at the line. And Shippensburg getting away with one right there as the pressure was coming. He had to get rid of the football, did Zapaticki. And on that one, good break there for Shippensburg.
Jordan Bowman, he has 1 interception already this year. He had 4 last year, preseason All-American at the safety position. And now it's going to be a fake handoff to Mayer, and now Pyle has it. He's going to the outside, and he will be drugged down at about the 15.
Out the ball carrier.
So that's going to bring in about 3rd and 2. Actually, mark him at the 16, so 3rd and 2.
I'm impressed by Pyle today, the way he's ran the ball. He's not the biggest running back, but he has been running into guys and continuing to churn those legs and push forward. He did again right there. It's going to be a manageable 3rd and 2 now for Shippensburg.
So shotgun, Pyle the sidecar, 13-15 left in the third quarter. Zapaticki fakes the handoff. He's going to throw, and there's going to be a flag. This will be holding against Shippensburg. And Zapaticki will run. He'll be taken down at the 2, but this one's going to be coming back. Or at least it should be, based on where that flag was thrown. It should be a holding on Shippensburg.
I can see Shippensburg. I can see that hole right there. That might have been Andrew Engelbert for Shippensburg, standing right there near the penalty marker. It might have been on him.
And we'll see as the ref comes out to make his call. Oh, it's an illegal chop block. It's a 15-yard penalty instead of a 10-yard for the holding. So that makes it 3rd and 17, not 3rd and 12.
That call was on Schuyler Harding for Shippensburg, as it looks like he chopped him down. I did see one of the Vulcans' defensive linemen go down to the ground on that run, and it's going to back Shippensburg up quite a ways, and it's going to be a 3rd and long now.
3rd and 17, 12:53 and running in the third quarter. Zapaticki back to throw, under pressure. There's going to be a sack. That's Jawan Turner with Errol Brewster, Tyler Haddock in there as well. And now this is going to be 4th and forever coming up. Line of scrimmage at the 24. This is going to be 4th and 31.
And this is becoming a theme for the Vulcans today. That is their 4th sack of Zapaticki today, and they've done a fantastic job getting into the backfield and just disrupting the plays for Shippensburg, and what looked like a promising drive to start ends in a punt here.
So 4th and 31. Shippensburg forced a punt again. Last time, same situation. Aaron Terry returned it 97 yards full to score. Dean gets the punt away. And Terry's just going to fair catch it this time, and it's going to go out of bounds at about the 5. They're actually marking it at 6, so California will start there. And Damon, as far as the CUTV crew, one of the best ways to follow us is on Twitter at CUTV_PA.
Yeah, Twitter is one of the best ways to keep up with what we're doing, what shoots we are currently doing, and also you can interact with us. Let us know what you want to see. You can check out what shoots you want to see. Anyway, it's one of the best ways for us to keep up with you, and for you to keep up with us. Definitely give us a follow.
So 12:01 remaining in the third quarter. You can hear the fans are screaming as they're doing the ice cream toss right now in the stands. I really could use some. It's a hot day out today. Harris hands it out to Franklin, got some running room, and he plows his way to the 11, a 5-yard gain.
And now that the Vulcans offense has the ball back, we'll see if they continue to just stick to what they've been doing all day, mixing with the run and pass, starting it out with the run right here with Franklin. But I'm sure with this large of a lead, they're going to try to go with the run game a little bit more and try to burn some of this clock.
So 2nd and 5, 11:35 to go in the third quarter. Harris hands out to Franklin again, and he'll be taken down at the 14. They'll bring up a 3rd and 2.
And Franklin, once again, we told you about the 112 rushing yards for the Vulcans in the first half, and they're just continuing to do that here to open up the second half. But you're going to want to get a first down. You don't want to be pinned back inside by your own 15-yard line, having to punt it back to Shippensburg and give them good field position.
3rd and 2 at the 14. Need to get to the 16 for a first down. Harris hands it off. Franklin, and he'll be stopped. He won't get there. No gain on the play. This will bring Patterson out the punt again, most likely.
And that's a big defensive stand for Shippensburg's defense right there. They knew they had the Vulcans pinned back, and if they could hold them, they would get good field position for their offense. And right here, Franklin just wasn't able to find a hole as he was closed up by Shippensburg. And he went nowhere on that one, and the Vulcans are going to be forced to punt.
Patterson, from about his own goal line, will be forced to punt it away. And the punt is away, and it'll be fair caught at the 45-yard line in Shippensburg territory.
So Shippensburg now, yeah, they're going to have very good field position. And we talked about Twitter, but another way to keep up with what we're doing, Zach, is our YouTube page, CUTV Sports 1. You can take a look back at different shoots that we've done in the past. I know our families like to keep up with us that way. None of them are in our viewing area, and it's a way to watch any of the shoots that we've done past and present.
Yeah, especially myself being from Georgia, Marietta, about 30 miles north of Atlanta. It's great for my family to be able to watch, especially on YouTube. And now that we have this live stream with CalVulcans.com, I know my mom at home, she is or was watching at some point. So, hi, Mom, if you're still watching. Anyways, back to action, and an incomplete pass. Pyle had to go through his hands. Zapatiki on the throw, 2nd and 10.
You can see Zapatiki right there on the field. Little frustrated. Nothing seems to be clicking for this offense today. Shippensburg usually has things rolling on all cylinders, but today the Vulcans defense just disrupting their rhythm. And they're going to have a 2nd down right here.
10 minutes and 11 seconds to go. 2nd and 10 at the 45. Handoff to Smith. Has some running room. Taken down at the 48 in Cal territory. A very generous spot will bring up 3rd and 3.
This is exactly what Shippensburg was doing on that first drive. They got to a manageable 3rd down, and penalties just ended up hurting them on that, and then the sack. So we'll see if the Vulcans, they've done a good job getting in the backfield to Zapatiki. Can they do it again here with 4 receivers out to the right?
Zapatiki in the empty set shotgun. Gonna step up and throw to Pyle. He's got a first down. Tries to shake off his defender. That's Brendan Blair. And he's taken down at the 40-yard line. Good for a first down.
That was just a good play call right there by Shippensburg. They didn't have to go deep on this one. They just needed the first down yardage. And the Vulcans were covering Zapatiki, making sure he wasn't going to run anywhere. Pyle able to pick up the first down.
Now Zapatiki rolls and it's complete. Not incomplete. I was ready to call it incomplete after he was over there on the sideline, but it is a completed catch.
Barrow with the reception.
And that was number 4, Jordan Harrow, making the athletic play right there, making sure his feet were in bounds. And now Shippensburg going with the hurry up again.
And they did this earlier, and it backfired on them after California made a couple stops. Now, here's the catch to Marshall, and he's going to get about 6 or 7 yards. It's good for first down at the 25.
Rapchek helped wrap him up right there and stop it. But Shippensburg again, they're just making sure this Vulcans defense is tired out there with this hurry-up offense. They're trying to get on the board for the first time since the first quarter.
Now Smith on the handoff. He's going to gain about 7 yards. It'll bring up 2nd and 3.
Smith, the ball carrier.
And Smith is a big part of this hurry up for Shippensburg. Every time that they don't want to go with the passing game, they can just hand it off out of the shotgun, and he's going to gash ahead for about 6 or 7 yards doing so right there.
So multiple subs come in for California. 5 subs in for the Vulcans along the defensive front. Same thing that happened last week. California, they were just on the field a lot during the second half, but they were only up at 10. And now an incomplete pass on 2nd and 3 makes it 3rd and 3. That one was going to Mayer. It was a short pass, just couldn't complete it.
3rd down.
And last week, you are right, Zach. The Vulcans defense was out on the field quite a bit, which caused them to tire out and allow those 250-plus rushing yards against Bloomsburg. But right here, this incompletion could slow things down a little bit. The Vulcans may catch a break and need a stop here on 3rd down.
Now Pyle, he's going to run it, but he will go nowhere. Maybe a gain of 1 on the play. If that, it'll bring up 4th and 2. At this point, I think Shippensburg kind of has to go for it, being down by 24.
I believe so, too. I think they're going to have to go for it right here. You're deep inside Vulcans territory. You might as well just give it a shot and try to go for that first down. They were successful at least once in the first half, and they're going to have to try to do it again here.
4th and 2, 7:55 and counting remaining in the 3rd quarter. Zapaticki back to pass, under pressure, and he'll go down. Let's see who that was. That was 99, Tyler Haddock. Excuse me, that's 93, Harrison Reed.
And that is now 5 sacks for this Vulcans defense this afternoon. They are having one heck of a game. And again, on a clutch play on a 4th down, they back up Shippensburg, get the sack, and give it right back to their offense. So Shippensburg just cannot find a rhythm right now with the disruption of the Vulcans defense.
Also in on that was number 55, Diamond Thomas, a redshirt freshman. Harrison Reed, I believe, is also a redshirt freshman. So a couple of young guys making a name. Actually, Harrison Reed's a senior, I apologize. So first week against Virginia State, Cal had 5 sacks. Last week, only 1 against Bloomsburg and their tough offensive line. Here today, 5 more. Harrison, empty set, 5 receivers. He's going deep on this play, I believe.
And it looks like we have a couple of receivers jumping off sides on that, or off the line of scrimmage, I should say, so it's going to be a false start against the Vulcans. So not exactly the way they would have liked to start out this drive.
And that they call it against Smory, but I think Smory, Green, and Dandridge all kind of left early. Same play coming again, though. 5 linemen, 5 receivers, and, of course, the quarterback, Harris. Let's see if he goes deep on this one, spreading out the field. He's going over the middle of the field, and it's incomplete. Just ahead of his intended receiver, Tom Green.
And Green right there over the middle of the field, looking for a pass interference call, possibly. There's a little bit of bumping going on between the cornerback and Green, but no call. They let him play it out, and now it's going to be 2nd down at 15.
7:41 remaining in the 3rd quarter. 2nd and 15, like you said. So Harris now adds a sidecar, and Franklin, maybe a draw play coming here. 4 receivers still. Dandridge came out. And it'll be a fake to Franklin. Going downfield. That's Kawan Scott. He has the distance, but it's out of bounds. Kawan Scott not able to have a chance at that one as it went out of bounds.
That's the 3rd or 4th time today the Vulcans have tried to go deep to Kawan Scott. That one was a beautiful throw, but just off out of bounds. And Kawan Scott is going to be walking off the field. He may have tweaked something in his leg right there.
And it is a hot day, so you have to wonder maybe that's a cramping situation. Just be precautionary. He was pointing to his thigh. He is walking and jogging, so hopefully it's not too bad. It's now California's about their top 2 receivers now. 7:34, 3:15, or 3rd and 15, excuse me. Now it's a handoff to Franklin. He will gain about 6 or 7 yards. That'll make it a 4th and 4.
And the Vulcans playing conservative right here, just giving the ball off to Franklin. He was able to gash ahead for quite a few yards, but on this one, they're just going to give it back to Shippensburg and hope to pin them down deep inside their own territory, as it's just been a back and forth sort of start to this second half.
And this is actually number 16 going out to punt. But number 16 on our roster is sophomore quarterback Michael Kier. So I wonder if Patterson's out on the sideline. Not sure who this 16 is, as the punt is away, and it's a booming kick all the way back inside the 20, Shippensburg territory. Lardani from behind, cannot get Mayer. He's dangerous as a punt returner. He's in the sideline, and he's gonna take it back if he can beat another man, and he will. Touchdown, Shippensburg.
And we talked about Mayer being a threat on the punt return game as well for Shippensburg, and now that is 2 punt returns for touchdowns that we've seen today. This one broke off by Mayer. He was able to go out to the far side of the field and pick up a few blocks. As we watch though, as he goes down this sideline, he pulls off a pretty nice move right here, shaking around a couple of Vulcans special teams players right there, and he gets the rest of the way with his speed to the end zone, and Shippensburg finally getting on the board for the first time since the first quarter with the special teams play.
And the only bad thing I can say about this, that gets California's offense right back out on the field, and California's going to be hungry to strike back. And it looks like Shippensburg's going to go for 2. I'm not exactly sure why you would go for 2 in this situation. It would still only be a 17-point game. At least that's 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Now you would make it a 16-point game where it's 2 touchdowns and 2 extra points. That's a lot harder, I think. Sapaticki going for it. He's going to be rushed under pressure, and he'll be taken down. So great pressure again from the Vulcans defense. Makes it a 6-point score instead of 7 or 8. So we will come back. 6:38 remaining in the third quarter. Vulcans get the ball next on CUTV.
Complete news, entertainment, and sports coverage from around the area, region, and nation is found right here on CUTV News Center every Thursday at 5 p.m. with anchors Jennifer Germano, Zach Prosba, entertainment with Mike Mays, and sports with Matt Hagee. Follow us on YouTube, CUTV News Center, and on Twitter, CUTV_PA, for your complete rebroadcast of your Vulcan sports. News Center airs every Thursday at 5 p.m. on Armstrong and Atlantic Broadband.
And so we return, and looking at the live stats, it looked like it is Michael Kier doing the punting. Interesting, as he's the backup quarterback. Had a great leg. It just got returned for a touchdown, and that's not his fault. That's just bad coverage skills.
Yeah, the coverage really wasn't there for the Vulcans on that special teams play. So we've seen these 2 special teams units exchange touchdowns today. And once again, we're seeing another high-scoring affair between these 2 football teams.
Now Wheeler, great return here. He is in the sideline. He has 1 man to beat, that's the kicker, Dean. He'll be shoved out of bounds as a high tackle comes in. But just like that, I said, California's offense is going to be hungry to strike, and they do. And that's a great return there for the Vulcans.
And we've seen Wheeler, we saw him return one earlier that was called back because of a hold. And this one, he's able to break off, and there is no penalty flags on the play as he comes up the left side of your screen right there and gets a monster return. But there actually is going to be a call on this play.
There's a holding called on California. See what this spot's at. I did not see that penalty flag come in. It's going to put California about the 32-yard line. So, actually, excuse me, no. Could put it at the 22-yard line instead. So, not terrible field position, I guess. Not like the last one where they were at the 6.
Yeah, not terrible field position, but that is now 2 kick returns that have been called back due to penalties, and that has got to hurt the Vulcans. I mean, so far they still have a great lead in this game, but you could have a lot more points because if you could have gotten some of those returns back.
And, you know, looking into the future, California may have found a good return man in Jimmy Wheeler as a freshman running back from West Mifflin. Franklin gets the handoff. He's going to the outside. He'll be taken down in the backfield. Loss of 2 on the play. So Shippensburg, they're getting some push. It looks like California's doing the same thing they did last week. Couldn't get any offense going, and their defense was forced to be out there a while.
As Shippensburg's defense doing a great job. They couldn't stop this rushing game in the first half, but now they're able to do that, get penetration in the backfield and slow it down. And now the Vulcans may be forced to throw a little bit more than they'd like right now to try to gain the chains right here.
Harris in the shotgun, sidecar to his left. Under pressure, throws it quickly, and it's complete to Lomax, and that's good for a first down. A great play there by Harris under pressure to get that throw away and complete it.
He knew he had a guy right in his face, and he let that ball go. Intended for Lomax, right on the target, and that was a great catch, and the Vulcans able to move the chains for the first time here in the half.
Lomax, he has a couple catches today, and also a touchdown from 8 yards out. 34-16, 5:32 remaining in the third quarter. Harris throws again, it's a screen. Fiore, it's just over his head, incomplete.
And Harris trying to put a little bit of touch on that one, trying to get it over the Shippensburg defender, and Fiore was just out of his reach. I wasn't sure if he was going to possibly make a crazy one-handed catch right there. That would have been something to see, but right over his fingertips, incomplete.
If you make him maybe a few inches taller, add a 1 to his jersey, we could call him Odell Beckham if he made that catch. But nonetheless, 2nd and 10, 5:27 to go. Franklin back in the game, 3 receivers, tight end is Green. Harris back to throw. Down the field. He has Kawan Scott wide open, and it's incomplete. Almost intercepted by Taylor, who made that great deflection earlier, but it falls down to the ground.
Give credit to Kawan Scott right there. That ball's a little underthrown. That gave Taylor the opportunity to try to get this interception, but Kawan Scott playing his best version of defensive back right there, just getting that ball out of his hands and disrupting it, making sure there was no interception.
3rd and 10 from the 33. Need to get to the 43-yard line in your own territory to move the sticks again. Up by 18 are the Vulcans with 5:20 remaining in the third quarter. Harris goes bootleg to the right. Receiver falls down. That was number 80 for Cal U. We'll see who that is. That was Dandridge. Falling down. Looks like he could have had enough for a first down had he been able to catch it.
And we've seen that a couple of times today. We saw Mayer for Shippensburg, and then that time the Vulcans couldn't get that pass completed because everybody's just slipping on that turf today for some reason. So the Vulcans going to lose the football here and give it back to Shippensburg again.
Now Kier, another punt. This one going to the sideline. It'll be down about the 36-yard line. So no possible return for Mayer there. Still interesting to see Kier punting there. And now, Damon, you looked at Twitter, you looked at YouTube, let's look at Facebook.
And we're all over social media, and Facebook is another one of our platforms. Give us a like. California University Television, once again, keep up with what we're doing with the news, with the sports. Or you could buy a stamp and write us a letter. We like any kind of communication, but that's another way to do it right there is our Facebook page. Give us a look on Facebook.
And, of course, when they come out with that new dislike button, don't use it on us, please. We're trying to do the best we can. Now Zapatiki, handoff up the middle to Smith. He gets to the outside, has some running room, shoved out about the 42. That's good enough for a first down.
And now Shippensburg, they've been using Andrew Smith quite a lot here this afternoon, and he's been doing a good job breaking off these large chunk of yards on these runs, and that's something that Shippensburg may want to use to try to get them back into sync right now. The only score they've had since the first quarter is that special teams play. We'll see if the offense can't get on the board now.
4:50 remaining in the third, and it's completed to Mayer out of bounds at the 44, yards short of first down, so it'll be 3rd and 1 coming up.
Another crucial third down right here in Mayer, or second down, I apologize. So Mayer making a great catch and getting the 8 to 9 yards. The short to intermediate passing plays once again paying off for Shippensburg.
So Shippensburg continuing their offense, but when they get deep in Cal territory, that's when they seem to kind of fail and stutter in their offense. Under 4.5 left in the third quarter now. Man in motion is tight end. Zapatiki throws it, and it's complete to Mayer, and he's got a first down at the 35-yard line.
And that seems to be the bread and butter play for Shippensburg right there. Mayer cutting out to the left and curling back so that Zapaticki could get him the football. He's looking dead to his left the whole entire time, looking for Mayer. They get another completion, and they're moving the chains down the field pretty quickly so far.
You have to be careful. You're Shippensburg. You keep doing that play, someone's going to jump up for California and have an open lane to return it. Now Zapaticki hands it off to Pyle from behind, not able to get him. And to the outside and taken down about the 30-yard line. Gain of 5 on the play. They're actually going to mark it. Gain of 6. 2nd and 4.
And Pyle using that speed right there, getting to the outside into space and just making a couple of Vulcans defenders miss. And again, he's had a great game today, just churning those legs and pushing forward, getting the extra yards.
Zapaticki back to throw. He's going to be under pressure and sacked. What a play. Errol Brewster. Zapaticki is slow to get up after that one.
We've seen Earl Brewster blow up a play on special teams, and right there he does the same to Zapaticki as he went from behind. Zapaticki was trying to avoid the Vulcan defenders in front of him, and he turned around and Brewster was right there.
That's a great play by Brewster. He's a hard tackler. We've seen it a couple of times today, including that sack and on a punt return. As now Shippensburg is going to be forced to call a timeout here with 2:59 remaining in the third quarter, facing a 3rd and 11.
Yeah, they are a little bit in scrambles, so they're trying to get everything together here. And here's that replay of the sack. As you see, Zapaticki stepping up in the pocket, and Brewster coming from behind just rocked him to the ground. He's had 2 monster hits, and Zapaticki may or may not be a little bit shaken up after that hit. We saw the 2 heads collide on that play.
Yeah, Zapaticki's head kind of went back, kind of like a whiplash situation. You got to be careful there. If you're Zapaticki, you don't want to overdo it in case you are a little woozy. Don't want to get yourself hurt even further. So, 2:59 remaining in the third quarter. 3rd and 11 coming up for Shippensburg. California's defense, while they've been bending a little bit, they're letting some plays go up. They're not breaking that much today. You can really say they've only given up 10 points by themselves.
That's right. Shippensburg's offense hasn't scored here in the second half, and the Vulcans, with the amount of sacks that they've been able to pile up, they've been able to force Shippensburg into some pretty deep 3rd downs and even 4th downs, and it's allowed them to stop this offense from getting in rhythm.
3rd and 11. Need to get to the 25 for a new set of downs. Zapaticki under pressure. He escapes. He's going to have to run himself. He'll be out of bounds, though, at about the 29. And there's going to be a late flag here. I don't know how you can call that. He shoved him out of bounds. He wasn't even anywhere near out of bounds, and he shoved him.
And that was Bowman right there for the Vulcans that was tapping Zapaticki. Basically just ran into him lightly to knock him out of bounds. And they're going to call another late hit on the Vulcans. That's the 3rd one of those today, and I can't believe it because that was unbelievable. I don't think he barely touched him at all, and they're going to call that.
That's barely a touch right there, and they call Bowman on the penalty. The clock is moving, 2:48 and running. I don't know how you can call that a penalty. The other ones, at least, is hard hits. That one, he was just shoved out of bounds gracefully by Bowman, and it gives Shippensburg a 1st down. 1st and 10 from the 15-yard line now for Shippensburg. Smith up the middle, plowing through some defenders down to the 1-yard line. It's going to be 1st and goal. And tell you what, Damon, there was like 3 players that false started for Shippensburg on that play.
And nothing was called on that one either, and Smith was able to do this, just continue to run through 2 or 3 Vulcans right there. And right now that penalty has got Shippensburg pumped up, and they're trying to get a touchdown.
1st and goal from the 1-yard line. Hand off to Smith. He'll be stopped, going nowhere. Taken back for a loss to about the 5-yard line. They're going to mark his forward progress, though, at the 3, so it'll be 2nd and goal.
And this time, Jordan Bowman was being graceful in his stop of the run play right here, as he's able to make sure that number 11, Andrew Smith, couldn't go anywhere on this play, and the Vulcans trying to make a stand right here.
And Bowman didn't get that tackle. He grabbed the ball. He didn't grab Smith. He grabbed the ball and tried to rip it out. Great play there by the safety. 2nd and goal from the 3. Mayer in motion. It's going to be a fade to Mayer. He's wide open, and it's caught for a touchdown. Shippensburg, with penalties yet again aiding them, some of them that really should not have been called, they get the score and they're back within 12.
And that was nearly a missed completion right there. Zapaticki kind of airmailed this a little bit. Mayer had to dive out in the end zone to get it. He was able to hang on, and Shippensburg's offense finally putting some points up on the board, and they're going to try to kick the extra point here, and that could make this an 11-point game.
And now I'm surprised they're going with the extra point, because now you can go for 2 and make it a 10-point game, touchdown and a field goal, as the kick is up, and it is good. So it's 34-23. California with 1:25 in the third quarter. Try and respond. We don't want the same thing that happened last week to happen again. We'll see if it does when we come back. CUTV.
Catch all the excitement under the Friday Night Lights with CUTV's High School Football Game of the Week. You have the best seats in the house as the area's longest running high school football telecast, now in its 29th season, brings you the area's biggest games. Don't forget to watch the replay on CUTV, Sundays at 8 and Thursdays at 5:30.
We are back on CUTV. Shippensburg within 2 scores now. 1:25 remaining in the third quarter, but Damon, it's really not California's fault. It's just calls have been going against them that really should not be.
Yeah, that was another late hit penalty that aided Shippensburg on that drive to be able to get that touchdown. It was a very ticky-tacky call by the referees right there, so I think Shippensburg did catch a break, and because of that, you're right. Now it's an 11-point game. They are very well in this, and it'll be interesting to see how the Vulcans can respond.
So the kick is away. Dean sends it downfield. That'll be Dandridge who fields it in the end zone. He'll bring it out, and he'll be taken down at about the 17, 18-yard line where California will start their drive.
And that time Dandridge on the return, getting that all the way about 2 steps into the end zone and trying to bring it out. And the Vulcans are going to be kind of back into their territory just a little bit. They're going to place it at about the 17-yard line, and they got a long way to go. Got to try to score a touchdown on this drive to respond.
And I think this is where you let Harris air it out a little bit, try and get a quick score. We saw it earlier in the game when California was down 10-7. They got the ball, and they went down and scored immediately, and that's what got their swagger back, and they need to do it again here. Harris in the pistol. Fake handoff. Franklin now throws it to Green, and it's through his hands. That would have been a completion for about 6 or 7 yards, but it goes right through his hands.
And I'm not sure if Green was trying to catch or try to run before he caught the ball, or if he heard footsteps on that one, but he wasn't able to corral. Oh, that ball was actually tipped, so that could have had a factor into why that ball wasn't completed.
And Jimmy Wheeler, the return man extraordinaire, is in at tailback for the first time today after that tip pass deflection. Harris in shotgun. Hands it off to Wheeler, up the middle. He's got some running room. He's going to break a big one here. 35-yard line, that's a gain of 18.
And Jimmy Wheeler, we've seen him on the return game today, and he's getting his first run of the ball game right here, and he is just breaking out into space today as he's able to break a couple of tackles and continue to run for a big gain right there for the Vulcans at first down.
And seeing him in high school for West Mifflin, he had a 400-yard game against Laurel Highlands once. He can run the ball pretty effectively. Harris back to throw on a play action. Throws it away, and he's going to be taken down as he throws it. And the refs are going to talk about whether it should be intentional grounding. There should not be, as he was being pressured and trying to get out of the pocket. And they're going to call intentional grounding. I don't know if I agree with that call. He was getting outside the tackle box. He was under pressure. You should not call that there. And now the refs are going to talk about it again.
Yeah, they're going to try to debate this because he was flushed out of the pocket on that play. Jimmy Wheeler missed his block, and Shippensburg was able to get pressure right there on Harris. That ball actually landed right at about the line of scrimmage, so I'm amazed that they may call this.
And they're not calling it, and there is no foul for intentional grounding. Look here, the pocket moved, so he's out of the pocket. When the pocket is established, If he's out of it, you can't call intentional grounding as long as he gets the ball away. If he's in the pocket, he has to get it past the line of scrimmage and out of bounds.
And that was the right play by the official, the right call there by the official to pick that one up. The pocket did basically move with the lineman for California, and Harris was flushed out, so there was no intentional grounding for that one. And the Vulcans getting a chance now here on first down, and Shippensburg's trying to discuss this with the officials, trying to understand what their reasoning for this was.
And I think what they were discussing is why is it still first down? It's second down, not first down. So it'll be 2nd and 10 with 50 seconds left in the third quarter. Harris in a shotgun. Wheeler is the sidecar. Hands it off to Wheeler. Wheeler going up the middle. He is now bringing it to the outside. He has a block. He's got first down. 40, 35. There's going to be a flag in the secondary. I'm not sure what this could be on. There was nobody in the area doing anything. I don't know where this penalty is coming from.
And that's what Zach Moorhead is trying to figure out for the Vulcans. And it might be against Moorhead himself. I don't know where that penalty was, but it's holding.
That's going against Kawan Scott. They're going to call it second down again. Let's see, though. It's going to be a spot foul, so it's going to be 2nd and 2. So it's a beneficial play anyways. There is a little bit of a holding.
And Kawan Scott was holding the back of Shippensburg's defender right there, and that was what they called on the play, so still pushes it up.
2nd and 2, 25 seconds left in the third quarter. Wheeler came out. Fiore and Franklin are in the backfield. Fake handoff. Harris going around, throws it out of bounds. And that'll be 3rd and 2 coming up for the Vulcans with 12.5 seconds left.
And we talked about the Vulcans defense able to disrupt Shippensburg and their passing game, getting after the quarterback, while Shippensburg's defense doing the exact same thing to Harris. Harris has tried to roll out to his right a couple of times here on this drive, and Shippensburg's always had at least one defender on him to pressure him to get rid of that ball as quickly as he possibly can.
So 3rd and 2, 12.5 seconds left before the end of the third quarter. Fiore and Franklin are the sidecars. Franklin handoff. He has got the first down to the 50-yard line. They're not giving him a very good spot. He got to the 50 and they're marking him back at the 47. It's still a first down, but not a very good spot.
I believe he actually fell down near the 47. I believe that was one of the other players for the Vulcans that fell down near the 50-yard line as Franklin was able to roll forward just a little bit right there. And that'll take us to the end of the third quarter.
And good eyes there, partner. That's the end of the third quarter. California trying to drive. Actually, wait, there's a flag on the field. There's a flag on the field. Let's see what this is going to be. The official's ready to make his call. This flag came in very late as the refs are huddling up.
And we've seen quite a few penalties here in this third quarter. The referees really starting to lay the hammer down on these penalties. These two teams have had a chippy ball game so far this afternoon. We'll see what the call is here.
No foul for a sideline warning, so that's the second flag the refs have had to pick up. So now we will go to commercial break. When we come back, final 12 minutes of the game. California up 11 on CUTV.
The Multimedia Access Center is an open lab where California University students can work on an assignment, attend a workshop, print a document for class, or take advantage of a variety of services such as large format printing, web development, and graphic design. Located in the renovated Natali Student Center across from the student bookstore, the Mac Lab is also your home for OrgSync support and services. For hours of operation or for more information, stop by the Mac Lab, visit our website, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter.
And we're back on CUTV. I apologize. Before break, I said the final 12 minutes. I'm still in high school football mode after we did a high school shoot last night. And it's actually 15 minutes instead of 12. James Harris and company coming out on a 1st and 10 from the 47-yard line.
And it's been a wild one to this point through the first 3 quarters, back and forth so far. Shippensburg's made this interesting again. Vulcans got to try to get their offense clicking here in the 4th quarter.
Harris throws it, it's complete to Green. Oh, he juggles it and catches it this time. And a late hit, but no flag called there. So 2nd and 2 coming up.
And that one, Green had to follow that one a little bit of an acrobatic catch right there as he didn't quite have the handle on it. Was able to take his time and get that ball under control, and now it's going to be a manageable 2nd down for the Vulcans.
Harris so far 13 of 29 passing, very inconsistent, but a lot of these have been drops as well, and throws out of bounds under pressure. Now Wheeler on the throw, or excuse me, on the run, gets a couple yards. They'll bring up 3rd and 1.
And Wheeler getting a couple of opportunities here in this second half to work out of the backfield, and he's been effective on the return game as well. A lot of his plays have been called back because of penalties, but he's trying to do what he can, and it's still 3rd down here.
3rd and 1. First minute of the 4th quarter. Wheeler on the handoff, and he will not get it. He's going to be inches short. Now, if you're California, do you go for it here, already in Shippensburg territory? I would.
At the rate that it's going right now for the Vulcans, you might as well go for it. You are at midfield. It is a risk. You could give Shippensburg good field position, but your offense has been fantastic of late, and you could easily change the momentum of this game, but they're going to send the punting unit out here and give the ball back to Shippensburg, and they got a backup punter in there too.
Watch out, though. Here is the quarterback. This could be a trick play. You have to watch out. 4th and inches. California going to punt it away, 13 and a half minutes and counting. And Kier thought about it, and now he's going to punt it away. And this is going to roll to the 3-yard line. Great punt there, so a great decision. That's about a 40-something yard punt from Kier.
Yeah, Kier took a little bit of a second to try to assess the situation and see what was going on, and that time he decided to punt it, and he did a beautiful coffin corner punt. You practice that when you play on the video game Madden, and that time he did it perfectly, putting it down at the 3, giving the defense an opportunity to stop Shippensburg and maybe even push them back into their own end zone for a safety.
I just gotta say, whenever I try to punt on Madden, it always goes in the end zone. I cannot coffin punt to save my life. Michael Kier, though, did it perfectly right there, setting Shippensburg up at the 3-yard line, 1st and 10. 13-19 to go in the 4th quarter.
I'm sure he gets quite a bit of practice at that on his Madden game. That's probably why he's able to do it so well here in a real game.
If I just take the joystick this way and kick, then I'm good. 1st and 10. The handoff to Smith. Up the middle. Maybe a gain of a couple yards. They'll mark it a 3-yard gain, so 2nd and 7 coming up.
And Smith, he's able to give Shippensburg just a little bit of breathing room right there. Instead of backed up on their 3, they can at least get out towards the 7-yard line. So now you open up the options. You could possibly pass it. But with the way the Vulcans defense has been going today, they could get in that backfield and get a sack off Zapatiki.
Zapatiki on his quick screen. It's going to be incomplete. It was a forward pass. If it was backwards, it would have been a fumble. California could have had a chance at it, but it will be 3rd and 7 from the 6.
That's a big 3rd down for the Vulcans. You decided to give it back to Shippensburg, and now if you pin them back deep in their own territory, you're going to give yourself an opportunity with good field position to finally put up your first points of the second half.
Zapatiki in shotgun. Sidecar is Smith on the left side. Under pressure from behind. Mayer gets the catch. It's a 1st down. Mayer out of bounds at about the 20-yard line.
And Mayer doing a fantastic job on this play. He was able to cut towards the sideline away from his defender. And he was wide open for that catch, so he's been an effective receiver for them today and doing the job right there, getting them 1st down.
1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. 12 and a half minutes left. Zapatiki over the middle. It's complete to Karan Kent, and it's to the 35 for 15 yards.
Now 2 straight first down passes right here. It looks like Zapaticki in this offense getting the passing game going right there. Kent open in the middle of the field, almost broke away for a few extra yardage. He's able to gain about 5 after the catch. And now, after being backed up, Shippensburg with an opportunity.
California with some subs. 12-10 remaining in the fourth quarter. Zapaticki under pressure. He's going to go down. Jawan Turner with the sack.
And Jawan Turner.
And now there's going to be a flag. I don't know what this is going to be on. Maybe a late taunting again. Against Jawan Turner, the man that made the sack.
And we'll check into this replay. I'm sure the penalty might have been something after as far as taunting or anything like that, but the Falcons now have 7 sacks on the day. But the penalty is going to give Shippensburg an automatic first down. And a big opportunity for them.
1st and 10 at the 42. Zapaticki back to throw. Over to Pyle. It's complete, but taken down by Arnell Farmer. 1 yard gain on the play.
And Farmer blowing that play up. They were trying to get it out to the flat right there, and Pyle is able to go nowhere on that play because of Farmer getting in there. And that short pass is what Shippensburg's used all day to at least set up 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 3, and this time to no avail. Stop for no gain.
11-22 and counting in the fourth quarter. Shippensburg trying to come back from a 24-point deficit. Hand off to Smith. He will gain about 4 yards on the play. 5 yards actually. They're giving him a really good spot. So 3rd and 5.
And now despite the penalties, the Vulcans with another opportunity. They can stop Shippensburg right here at midfield and stall this drive out. They are slowly running out of time as we're under 11 minutes here, still down by 11, so the Vulcans could get a stop right here. They could ice this game with another offensive drive.
Zapaticki back to throw. Might run it himself, now he will, and he will be taken down short of a first down. Let's see, that was Rapchek on that tackle, the strong linebacker for the Vulcans.
And Rapchek had an opportunity to get him in the backfield, and he never gave up on this play as he came out from the middle of the field and is able to get him down. And it looks like Shippensburg is going to try to go for it. Zapaticki in the offense.
Hurt. Zapaticki is hurt. Looks like a hip or a leg after that big hit from Rapchek. Shippensburg's going to have to take a timeout because Zapaticki cannot walk perfectly right now. You can see him right there trying to stretch something out. And now he goes down. It's his knee, and Zapaticki's down.
And it's an injury timeout right there, so they don't have to use a timeout per se. But Zapaticki is favoring that right knee. We're going to take a look at this play as we saw Rapchek come from behind to bring him down. And he may have, you saw the stutter on the leg right there, and it may have tweaked something on that leg as he went down to the ground.
And because Zapaticki went down to the ground, Shippensburg does not have to use a timeout, so they still have 2 left. But Zapaticki is getting help on the field, you can see right there. So we'll see whether or not he's able to come back. As there's 10:06 remaining in the fourth quarter.
And Zapaticki on the ground right there. He is a big part of this offense for Shippensburg. And we take a look at the rest of the PSAC schedule for this week 3. We talked about some of the big games. Seton Hill at Westchester, Gannett at Kutztown, Mercyhurst at Bloomsburg is one we're keeping an eye on as well. So quite a few games going on to watch here today.
And I'm trying to look at some of the scores. The Wi-Fi on my iPad went out, so I have to use my handy-dandy iPhone now. As I look up at the Mercyhurst and Bloomsburg score, that's the big game you mentioned that we're trying to keep an eye on. As number 17, Troy Jones, the backup quarterback, will come out for Shippensburg as they attempt to go for it on 4th and 2 at the 50-yard line. Man in motion is Kent. And Jones going to keep it himself up the middle, and he has the first down at about the 46. Gain of 4 on the play.
I was wondering with Zapaticki getting taken to the sideline due to injury, if Bloomsburg was still going to try to go for it on 4th down. They really pretty much had to at this point. And Troy Jones entering the ball game and just going right up the middle with that quarterback draw and just going for it. And
Jones is hurt now. Jones looks like he's trying to He's a little woozy getting off the field, but Zapaticki is back out. 9:40 to go in the fourth quarter. Zapaticki out, 1st and 10 from the 46. Zapaticki looking for a quick throw. Now he's going to run it himself. Almost tripped up. And now from behind, Rapchak gets him, and he's taken down about a few yards short. It'll be 2nd and 3.
It looks like that knee's doing all right. It might have been just a little bit of a cramp off of that last play as he goes ahead and scrambles right here over to his right, escaping a couple of defenders, even with a couple of stutter steps. So Zapaticki back out on the field, and Shippensburg continues to move.
9:07 remaining in the fourth. Zapaticki, quick throw to Pyle, and it is caught, but it's a loss of a yard, so it'll be 3rd and 4.
And we're back to the same situation as we've seen on this drive numerous times. The Vulcans have them at 3rd and intermediate amount of yards there, 4 yards to go. And this could be a big stand as Shippensburg somehow has continued to convert on these 3rd and 4th downs, and they still have the ball moving down the field.
Need to get to the 36 to move the sticks. 3rd and 4. Zapaticki over the middle, and has Pyle right over the middle. Pyle taken down at the 26, a gain of 14.
And once again, these passes to the middle of the field paying off for Shippensburg, and they are hurrying up right here, going right for it.
This is where California needs a turnover. Mayer on the completion, almost taken out by Terry, but he can't get him, and now he's shoved out of bounds by Jordan Bowman.
And Shippensburg is going to have to try to go for this, hurry up a little bit, but it looks like Mayer's shaking up now on the Vulcans sideline. I don't know what exactly he might have tweaked, but we'll take a look at the replay right here. And Mayer, as you see, trying to spin out of that tackle, and it might have been something on that. As he goes over to the sideline, it seems that he grabs at his knee as well.
Looks like it might have just been like a sprained knee or something. And it's going to be 2nd and 7 coming up. 8:19 to go in the fourth quarter.
And it's hard to tell just due to the fact that we've had a couple of injury timeouts along with a couple of penalties, but Shippensburg has held the ball for a large chunk of time on this drive. Now, I know they're trying to hurry up and get into the end zone. It's a close game, but the clock is a little bit of their enemy right now. They're down by 11. There's 8:19 left in this game.
Because the thing is, they need a 2-point conversion somewhere in there as well as a field goal. And that 2-point conversion they tried earlier and they didn't get it.
2nd down.
Imagine if they did have it, then it would only be a 10-point game or less. Zapaticki under pressure, avoids it. Now he'll be tackled. No, avoids that tackle as well. Now Zapaticki taken down at about the 16. That's good enough for a 1st down.
Talk about being elusive right here. Zapaticki avoided 3 different Vulcan defenders on this play. He has been hard to take down. They've sacked him 7 times, but on plays like this, he's able to get a little bit of space, and he can make guys miss with those stutter steps and the spins.
Looking like a Division II Johnny Manziel, just maybe not as good numbers. Zapaticki back to throw. It's tipped and still caught by Harrow.
That was a great play by Harrow. That ball was tipped. That was about the 2nd or 3rd ball that was tipped at the line of scrimmage today. Again for Shippensburg, but this one just fell right into Harrow's hands. He fell forward to make that catch. So still a gain for Shippensburg and on the 1st down.
And Rabchak was trying to get there to see if he could catch it himself, but he could not. 1st and 10 at the 13, 7.5 minutes left. Now handoff up the middle, Pyle. He's going nowhere, loses a couple yards on the play. They'll call it 2nd and 11.
And that time, Shippensburg, a rare thing to see, going straight up the middle with that run. Pyle was able to go nowhere, bringing up 2nd down. We'll see what they decide to do here. They've been able to use those intermediate passing routes to get a good chunk of yardage, and that's about all they need to get in the end zone.
So Shippensburg switching around their personnel. 15 on the play clock, under 7 minutes to go now. Zapaticki back to throw. Brewster's there, and it's incomplete, out of bounds. This will be 3rd and 11 coming up.
Good coverage right there by the Vulcans. They had 3 receivers split out to the left, did Shippensburg, and the Vulcans defended that very well. And also right here, you saw Zapaticki trying to step up into the pocket. He had nowhere to go, so he was forced to throw it, and that one fell incomplete out of bounds.
Mayer is back in the game, so his knee seems to be fine after a little bit of a tweak coming on the Vulcan sideline. 6:49 to go, 3rd and 11. Need to get to the 3 for a new set of downs. Zapaticki back to throw, and it's over everybody. Actually, Smith had a chance on that wheel route, but it falls incomplete. So they'll bring up 4th down. Shippensburg will go for the field goal because they need it anyways.
And that ball floated just over every Vulcans defender. I thought Smith had a very good opportunity to get that, but just couldn't reach out far enough to make that catch. He wanted a pass interference call on the play, but that time the refs did not give it to him. So Shippensburg is going to have to settle for the field goal and make this an 8-point game if they make it.
It'll be a 32-yard kick. Wind is blowing a little bit, and now there's going to be a timeout called by California.
And I'm looking over here actually at the flags off to our right, up in the top of the grandstand, and the wind is blustery right now. You're seeing just bursts of wind every now and then coming across the field, so that could mess with your kicker there, because you at 1 second could be going to kick the ball, no wind at all, and once it's in the air, you're going to get a gust. It could just knock it out of its projected path. You could have a missed field goal because of it, and Shippensburg cannot afford that right now.
Brazil had a missed field goal down here earlier from about 28 yards out that it just could not curl with the wind because the wind died after he was accounting for the wind, and that could have made it a 14-point game at this point. But nonetheless, he also missed an extra point earlier that could make it a 12-point game where Shippensburg would have to score 2 touchdowns. So those are the things, you know, wind is a factor in most games, whether it's a kick or a pass. It can affect the trajectory of a ball, like you said.
And you could say this about any sport, but it is seriously a game of inches. Those missed opportunities could pay off for Shippensburg, or they could not hurt them at all. So we'll see what happens.
Kick is up, and it is good. So Dean is able to get it through the uprights. It's an 8-point game, 34-26. California with 6:40 left. Need to respond and hold on in the 4th quarter here on CUTV.
Save preset 1 for Cal U's best music. More music in the car, more music in the door, more music everywhere. This is 91.9 WCAL Power 92. The home of the Vulcan Nation, playing Cal U's best music. 91.9 WCAL. WCAL Power 92.
And we are back on CUTV. Shippensburg within a touchdown and 2-point conversion. We're tying this one. 6:40 remaining in the 4th quarter. California needs to mount a drive and see if they can build something up and waste some time on the clock as well.
Yeah, they have not had any points at all here in the second half. They need to get something on the board right now. Shippensburg is driving up the field. They're making this a very, very close game. And if the Vulcans could do anything right now, they need to waste some of this clock. 6:40 left on the clock. And if anything, get a field goal. If you get a field goal and make it a 2-score game once again, you have a good chance to ice this game.
Kick will go to Wheeler about the 5-yard line. And waits for it and he grabs it. And tries to break another return, but he gets taken down at the 30. He had one man to beat, but was taken down. So Harrison Company will have decent field position at the 31. Try and mount another scoring drive. If they can score a touchdown here, I think it's over. And a field goal would definitely make it harder on Shippensburg because they wasted a lot of time on that scoring drive. So California, it works to their advantage to try and control the clock on this drive.
And it is a tough call to make because so far in the second half, Shippensburg has been able to shut down the rushing game for the Vulcans that was so effective in the first half. But if they air it out, you risk not wasting any clock at all and giving Shippensburg an opportunity with a lot of time left on the clock.
Franklin on the handoff, goes through the middle, gain of a yard on the play. It'll be 2nd and 9, and that's effective. Just waste some time off the clock, another 35 seconds or so.
And Franklin has been stymied a little bit here going up the middle against Shippensburg as he hasn't really been able to get anything on the ground this half.
6:05 remaining in the fourth quarter. Harris is trying to take his time a little bit. Still got about 10 on the play clock. Harris gets the snap, fakes the handoff to Franklin. Down the field, and it is incomplete to Lomax. So that stops the clock and brings up third and now and 9.
And there's the risky run if you're the Vulcans right there. They air it out right here, and if you don't complete it, you're not going to waste any more of the clock as it's stalled out at 5:49 remaining. And they've been effective with the pass today, but again, this defense for Shippensburg doing a great job at stopping the offense of the Vulcans right now.
California, the best advice I can say is if you don't score and Shippensburg does score, the most they can do is tie it. They cannot take the lead. 5:49 remaining in the fourth quarter. 3rd and 9 at the 32. Harris back to throw. Over the middle, and it's incomplete. Fiore had it but could not bring it down. He would have had a first down and a lot more. So Shippensburg will take back over.
And Fiore is frustrated. That one was right in his hands. I think he was so built on trying to get that first down, he didn't even think about catching the ball first, and it just went right through his hands. And Shippensburg with a massive opportunity right here to get the ball back and try to tie this thing up.
And now Luke Smorey is back to punt. I don't know what's going on. Keller is using a bunch of different punters today that we've never ever seen punt. So Smorey is back. Gonna rugby style it down the field. Not a bad kick by any means, as Mayer's gonna let it bounce and go inside the 5, down to the 3-yard line. So a great punt there by Smorey, pins the Raiders back.
And the Vulcans have used a group of punters. Some of the guys you wouldn't even expect, one of them being Smorey right there. But I'll tell you what, Zach, these backup punters for the Vulcans have done a phenomenal job. We saw Kier put one in the corner earlier, and then Smorey nailing him down to the 3-yard line. That's just great.
And now it's 5:31 remaining. Shippensburg, although they're using the no huddle, they got a long way to go. And like I said, they can only tie it. They cannot take the lead here. Ball at the 3, 5:31 to go. Last time Shippensburg got the ball here, California has some stops and some bad penalties called on them as well. Zapaticki to throw to Smith, and it's complete, taken down about the 8-yard line. Gain of 5 on the play.
And that'll back them at least off their own end zone right there. A risky call going for the pass right off the bat. Could have turned into a safety the way the Vulcans defense has been playing, but they get a little bit of breathing room, and now a 2nd down and about 4.
5:05. Zapaticki back to throw over the middle, and it is caught by Karan Kent. Just enough for a first down at the 16-yard line.
And Karan Kent got turned around a little bit on that one. I don't think he was expecting that ball to be so far behind him, but he made the adjustment, turned around, and caught that one. Almost could have been an incompletion, but Shippensburg moves the chains, and they've been doing this all this second half.
Zapaticki under pressure. Brewster's almost there to get him. Now Zapaticki will run it himself, and he will get to about the 21-yard line, so that's a 5-yard gain.
And you saw Rabchik go after him on the sideline right there near the end of this play. He didn't even want to touch him because of the calls that have been made so far today by the referees on hits out of bounds. So they just let him run his way out of bounds. And Shippensburg again. Zapaticki making a good scramble right there.
4:25 and running here in the fourth quarter. Zapaticki back to throw. Over the middle, that's caught by the tight end, and it's enough for a first down at the 28. That's number 85. That's Daniel Wheeler, the fullback.
Getting his first action of the day, and he makes a good reception right there to move the chains. And Shippensburg, again, they're just rolling down the field right now. Their offense has found its rhythm, and the Vulcans need something here. Maybe a turnover, maybe a sack. Switch the momentum just a little bit.
Zapaticki to Mayer, and it is complete. Looks like that one, they're going to call it incomplete as it bounced on the ground. They're going to say he trapped it. They're going to say incomplete, so 2nd and 10.
And that is one of those calls we're going to check it out here on replay where Mayer didn't have control of the ball as he was falling to the ground. So with the ground below him, he was able to haul that one in. So that is not a catch. You have to have possession of it and control of it before you go to the ground. So they're going to say it was incomplete. 2nd down.
3:59 to go here in the fourth quarter. Second and 10 at the 28. Man in motion. Zapaticki to throw. And it's to Pile, incomplete behind him. Terry would have been right there to take him down anyway. So 3rd and 10 now, 3:55. If you're Shippensburg, is this 4-down territory? You have timeouts and you've been stopping Cal. Do you go for it on 4th down if you don't get it?
Where they are at on the field, they're only on their own 28. I would think that that's not going to be the case. I feel like they're going to have to punt it away if they don't make it here, especially if it's not a 4th and close.
3rd and 10, empty set for Zapaticki. Over the middle, and it's complete to Smith. He breaks the tackle, and he's going to be shoved out of bounds past the 40, about the 43. Plenty enough for a 1st down.
And that is going to be a 1st down for Shippensburg, as once again Smith making the reception out of the backfield and gaining those extra yards, and a big 3rd down conversion for Shippensburg. The clock is still running though, so they're going to have a little bit of a sense of urgency.
3:38 and running. Zapaticki back to throw. Now Zapaticki downfield, incomplete. The closest man in the area was Isaiah Scott, a backup safety for the Vulcans.
And that was definitely a throwaway by Zapaticki. He was flushed out of the pocket, and all of his receivers were pretty well covered throughout the area there. Smart play by him. That'll set up the 2nd down and 10.
And that actually was Todd Coles Jr., number 32, not 22. I apologize for that. 2nd and 10, 3:29 to go in the game. Zapaticki has a man in motion. There's going to be a penalty here. That's tipped at the line. This could be a offsides or illegal motion. We'll have to see.
Yeah, if this is against Shippensburg, this could cost them a little bit.
Offsides against the Vulcans. That's a 5-yard penalty. It'll be 2nd and 5 now. So California, another wound that's self-inflicted.
And they're up in the double digits now in the number of penalties they've taken today. Some of them have been questionable. That one, though, not so much. And it's going to give Shippensburg a second opportunity on 2nd down.
And I saw Harrison Reed, number 93, kind of kicking his feet back like, I'm ready to go. I want to go get Zapaticki on this play. Zapaticki, under pressure, is going to have to roll out. Throws it downfield, and it's incomplete, and it's up in the air. There's going to be a flag where this is thrown. This will be holding against Shippensburg, most likely.
And on that play, the ball was deflected by Shippensburg's own receiver, and that is holding against Shippensburg. So the penalty the Vulcans took is now going to be taken back with Shippensburg penalty here.
And that holding was against Harrison Reed, or the guy blocking Harrison Reed at least. And that ball, lucky that the defender for the Vulcans was not turned around, but that would have been easy interception.
Yeah, Jeff Golias was the one that tipped that up in the air, and that could have been an interception for the Vulcans.
2nd and 15 coming up with 3:18 to go. Like I said before, Shippensburg taking a lot of time on this drive. Now Zapaticki under pressure, throws it, it's complete to Kent. Kent not able to get around the defender though. That's a great tackle by Brendan Blair. Gain of 3, it'll be 3rd and 12.
It's going to be a long 3rd down here for Shippensburg as they are backed up. The clock is now under 3 minutes to go, and this is now definite 4-down territory if you're Shippensburg. If you aren't able to make another 3rd down and long conversion here, you're going to have to go for it. You're at midfield, under 3 minutes to go in this game. You need to tie it.
Still 2 timeouts left for each side. Zapaticki, 2:40 remaining, gets the snap. Now, under pressure again, have to be flushed out of the pocket. He's going to run it himself. He'll be getting the 1st down, though. Just enough, they're going to say, as it's a 1st down, 2:31 to go.
And you talked about him being the Johnny Manziel of D2 right now without the stats that Johnny Manziel put up, but Zapaticki is just creating plays. And there's going to be a flag on this one.
Offsides against California. So that one's going to be declining. It's a 1st down anyways.
And here is Zapaticki rolling out to his left once again, and he is just able to create more and more plays throughout this game, sneaking his way over. And I did thought that I saw one of the Vulcans defenders jump very slightly at the beginning of that play, and that's where the flag did come from. But nonetheless, Shippensburg getting the 1st down.
California, again, Shippensburg can only tie it as long as they get the 2-point conversion. 2:20 remaining in the game. Zapatiki in a handoff to Smith. He's got running room outside. He'll be taken down, though. A great makeup tackle. Looked like that might have been Arnell Farmer on the tackle, I believe.
We'll take a look on the replay right here as you see Smith didn't have anywhere to go over to his right, so he cuts back to the left. And he was able to make a very, even though the stiff arm was there, he was able to make a great tackle right there. And that was number 20.
And now there's going to be a run up the middle. That's going to be to the 30-yard line, a minute 49 to go. Zapatiki kept it himself. 1st and 10 at the 30. 30 yards away from a possible opportunity to tie it.
And Shippensburg now just going with that hurry up. I think they are just going to play for the tie right here. They're letting the clock wind down. They don't want to give the Vulcans an opportunity. They feel like they can score, but they got to get that 2-point conversion as well.
Zapatiki with a man in motion. Takes the handoff, goes over the middle, and it's tipped by Vondell Bell. Could have been picked if it went to him. Mayer's looking for a pass interference. There'll be no call. Rap check a little slow. Looks like he might have hurt his hand or something.
And Vondell Bell, we didn't get to finish our thought there. He made the great tackle a couple of plays ago, and right there, deflecting the pass, bringing up a second down. That could have been a pick. That could have also been a touchdown. So this game is hanging in the balance right now with just under a minute and a half to go.
1:23 exactly remaining. 2nd and 10 at the 30. Pyle in motion into the slot. 5 receivers. Zapatiki ready to throw. He's going to roll out. That's a couple guys following him, and he's going to be intercepted. CalU ball. California comes away with a huge turnover. Let's see who made that interception. Aaron Terry, our player to watch. It's his time. Aaron Terry time with the pick.
Aaron Terry was the player to watch, and what an acrobatic play. As you can see here, Zapatiki had to roll out to his right. He was getting chased the entire time through it, and his receiver couldn't get to it, and Terry somehow kept his feet in bounds on that play. What an athletic play. What an athletic interception, and the Vulcans have iced this right here.
Remember, though, a minute 15. Shippensburg has 2 timeouts. It's going to be difficult, but it could be done. Remember, Denver and Kansas City. Kansas City fumbled in a tie game and lost it. Franklin up the middle. A gain of about 2 yards. It'll be 2nd and 8. Timeout taken by Shippensburg.
And at the very least, the Vulcans run the ball in these first 2 downs right here. Even if you don't go anywhere, Shippensburg uses those timeouts. You run it one more time, you're at least going to knock the clock down below to almost about 30 seconds. So it's going to be a very tight window for Shippensburg. But you're right, they do still have life, as we saw on Thursday night with the Chiefs and the Broncos.
So the defense, again, second half, it's not their fault. They've been on the field a lot. As you look at the upcoming broadcast, Tuesday we have California volleyball versus Wheeling Jesuit. The next Friday, Jeff Morgan at California high school football. And then California at Edinburgh, our first road trip of the year, as we go up to Erie and see the Vulcans taking on the Fighting Scots.
And those are all great broadcasts coming up, so tune in here to CUTV, and even also on the radio side for the Cal Vulcans football game next Saturday, as we're going to have quite a few good games coming up for you.
And back to that interception, Aaron Terry, our player to watch, he had 4 his freshman year. He had, I think, 1 all of last season. That's his first this year. Maybe that's the start of him coming back his junior season.
That is definitely a possible thing right there for him. A great interception to turn this game on its head. And the Vulcans, again, chance to ice this game. We'll see what they can do. All they need is a first down.
Smorey in motion. Harris fakes the handoff. Goes, and Kawan Scott moves backwards, though. He didn't go for the first down, so it'll be a 3rd and 2. Timeout taken by Shippensburg. That's their last one with a minute left. If he went forward, this game's over.
He tried to get a little bit fancy with that play, as you're going to see right here. He makes the reception and tried to avoid the defenders. If he just lowers his shoulder and goes forward, this game is over, but it's still in the balance. 1 minute exactly left on the clock, and the Vulcans are going to have to pick up these last 2 yards to end this thing out.
If I'm the Vulcans, you have to run the ball here, because even if you don't get it, when you punt it away, it's going to leave Shippensburg with about 30 seconds left. And that's nowhere near enough time to get all the way down the field and score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any time left for Shippensburg with that. But Jimmy Wheeler, right now, if you're the Vulcans, I believe, even though Franklin has been effective throughout most of this game and he is the bigger back, why not give it to Jimmy Wheeler? This guy has been gashing Shippensburg for yards all day. He's been pushing forward. All you need is 2 yards. Give it to him, get him a couple of blocks, and you're going to get those 2 yards for that first down.
And we're going to see Franklin and McCauley in the backfield. Green is a tight end. McCauley actually going to be in the slot. California, if they get this, the game will be over and the Vulcans will be 2-1. Let's see. Harris under center. 1 minute to go. Handoff fake. And there's going to be a false start on the Vulcans. So this confuses the play call all even more. 3rd and 7 now with a minute left.
And the penalties have been killing the Vulcans today. This one is going to back them up 5 extra yards, and now you got a longer 3rd down to convert. So Shippensburg definitely still has life in this one, as the Vulcans now got to make a decision here what you want to do.
And the bad thing was McCauley was wide open. And now we see Jimmy Wheeler on the field. He's going in for Franklin. You mentioned him as the guy to go to. I can see them going to him here. He's picked up some big chunks of yardage on some plays. 1 minute left. 3rd and 7. If they get it, it's over. Hand off to Wheeler. Wheeler going up the middle. He's still plugging, still chugging. Stopped just a few yards short. So it'll be 4th and 3. There will be about 14 seconds left on the clock, though, when the punt is taken.
And that's where the penalty killed you right there. Wheeler picked up enough. It would have been a first down without the penalty, but he isn't able to do that here. And again, though, the clock is the enemy against Shippensburg. Vulcans are going to wind this thing down to the very end before probably calling a timeout. And like you said, Zach, that's only about 14 seconds that'll be left on the clock for Shippensburg to do anything.
And when Shippensburg gets the ball, they can take a knee and have about maybe 6 or 7 seconds left for one final play. But Shippensburg has no deep threats on their team, or no one tall enough really to go up and catch a lob pass in the end zone. Their 2 star receivers are 5'7" and 5'6". You can't do that in the end zone. So if you go for a Hail Mary, California probably come down with that interception.
Yeah, the size disadvantage that we talked about in the open is coming into play right here as the Vulcans have called the timeout, and there's 14.4 seconds left on the clock. That is all Shippensburg is going to have, and that's not including this punt right here is going to take some time off as well.
So Shippensburg just takes a fair catch and downs it. They'll have maybe about 6 seconds left. Mayer has returned one today. Let's see who the punter is this time. It will be Michael Keir back on the punt. Keir has a little bit more hang time. I think that's what the decision is here. Keir gets it away. 10 seconds left. Smith gonna be taken down. No chance to return it. There's gonna be 2 seconds left. California, all they have to do, rush 3, send 8 deep, and they should knock it down and the game will be over.
And that was an interesting thing for Shippensburg. I don't know why he tried to fight and gain more yards right there. The clock just continued to wind. He should have just went to the ground and would have given Shippensburg at least, I would think, 4 or 5 extra seconds. But now, 2.7 left on the clock. You're going to have to pray for a miracle right here to try and tie this game.
And crazier things have happened. You have to watch the laterals, as there's going to be a timeout taken by California. That's their final timeout. So California trying to catch up what they're going to do here on this final play of the game. 2.7 seconds left. But remember, even if Shippensburg gets the touchdown, they have to tie it with a 2-pointer. As we look at next week's game, California at Edinburgh, live at 12 o'clock on WCAL 91.9 FM. No live stream as it's not a home game. You can be able to watch it on CUTV Monday night at 6 and Tuesday at 4. And then Friday, Jeff Morgan at California High School will be right down the road. That's Sunday at 8:30 and Thursday at 5:30 on CUTV.
And now with 2.7 seconds left on the clock, the Vulcans defense, I'm sure, is going to sell out for the deep threat. They're going to concede those short yardage and just have to make the tackles when it's played out. And you can see right now they're spreading out, sending about 3 or 4 guys deep back across midfield.
So there'll be one final play. Zapatiki in an empty set, 5 receivers, 4 on his right, 1 on the far side of the screen. Zapatiki back to throw, 4-man rush over the middle of the field. Here's the lateral to Pyle. He's going to be tackled though, and it's over. California, 2-1.
And California able to defend against that. They went with the short route, and they only did one lateral, trying to let Pyle run up the field, but the Vulcans defenders getting all over that, and they're able to stop it. A little bit of a heart-wrenching game. The Vulcans seemed to be, they didn't even score in the second half, but they were able to hang on. They used that lead to their advantage and hold on for that second win of the season.
And that was a great game. As I said, next week they'll be at Edinburgh trying to improve their record to 3-1 as they start PSAC West play. For everybody on crew, Damon Madison, our director Gary Smith, I'm Zach Prospa, our WCAL announcer Matt Hagee. Thank you for watching. California escaped with a 34-26 victory against the Shippensburg Red Raiders. See you next time.